Where you at, Mike Ryan?
I told you.
He's hiding.
Yeah.
He's hiding. That was just a celebration of Stugotz's return, everybody.
Welcome back. Everyone.
Where has he been? He just came in. He staggered in, and this is how he said good morning. He's like, Vegas, the win. I don't remember where I was, but I'll tell you, pretty sure Coach K was with the dead, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the gummies, the shrooms, but everywhere I turned at the Wynn Resorts, who I saw was Coach K. I think.
When you're on mushrooms, everyone looks like Coach K, though.
Is that what's happening? Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. When you're on mushrooms, does everyone look like Coach K? Because he came back talking like it was Being John Malkovich, the movie, that everywhere he went in Vegas, everyone looked like Coach K. But to be fair, it's kind of what Vegas is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suspiciously dark hair?
Suspiciously dark hair, trying to be younger when in their 80s, and gambling the rest of their life away.
Yep. Playing golf at the Wynn.
Following the dead.
Oh, Coach K.
The thing that's the coolest, Stugotz, we should just start the show because we're a hockey town that wins all the big games.
Yes.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Passing down low, Reinhardt, they score! Aaron Ekblad makes it 1-0 Florida. Off it goes, Kulikov, and they score! Florida leads 2-0. Click. Forsling quickly to Reinhardt with help coming. Out in front for Boquist, and they score! Jesper Boquist put on the top line tonight, and he makes it 3-0 Florida. Mikkola scores! Another goal from a Florida defenseman, and it's 4-0 Panthers. And here's another goal, this one from Greer. Another unlikely goal scored. The route continues.
A tied draw, the puck pokes out to Sam Bennett, and Bennett, who scored a beauty.
And now Seth Jones moving in, shoots, scores! 1-0 Panthers as Seth Jones beats Joseph Woll. Saved by Woll, score! 2-0 Florida. Here's Greer, kicked out by Woll. Greer slides it across, score! Gadjevich makes it 3-0 Florida. Unrestricted free agent Mitch Marner, score! Marchand, the shot deflected in by Losterinen. It is now 4-1 Florida. Right off the draw, Reinhardt beats Woll. Now it's Marchand, sends it down into the empty net. An exclamation point off the stick of Marchand, his third point tonight, as he will go 5-0 in Game 7s against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I owe the champion Florida Panthers an apology. I am a coward. I was scared of a Game 5 and Game 7 in Canada. Yeah. And today, South Florida gets to feel pretty good because those hockey losers who invented the sport in Canada never get to win that game. The game is now won in a swamp.
I told you so.
In a swamp. Okay, Roy, nobody likes that guy. Like, nobody all you've got by way of hello is I told you so.
I love that
Look,
guy.
I will tell you why I don't like that guy. I make fun of Wilbon and Kornheiser for this. They now do a show where it's just old men, and it shouldn't be called Pardon the Interruption anymore. It should just be, I got that right. And they go 4 for 10. And they don't mention the 6 they got wrong. Now, you were not afraid, admittedly. Roy was not in any way afraid. We'll get to his thoughts in a moment. But those goal calls we played, they had the best part missing. I again listened to the game this way, Stugotz, because I have not felt this kind of sports excellence down here in my lifetime, except when the University of Miami football team had all the first-round picks and when the Miami Heat had LeBron, Wade, and Bosch. But this team, I mean, Paul Maurice is now 27-0 in the playoffs when he has a lead after any period.
That's crazy.
That's not the craziest stat I have for you today.
I doubted that stat. I was like, I'm going to go back and look it up. And it's true.
It is true. Anytime they lead after a period, they win the playoff game.
A period?
A period. Sorry. Thank you, Zaz. I did that incorrectly.
I don't think Chris went back and looked it up. I think he just accepted it.
No, I did.
No.
I, in my defense, and Stu knows me.
It's the greatest compliment it's the greatest compliment that Chris deigns to read, and unlike his father, retain a morsel of information because he heard something, couldn't believe it was true, and then verified it.
I'm not gonna lie. I went back. I looked up the first 5, and I'm like, all right, 5 in a row. It's probably the next 27. That's good enough for me.
Attaboy.
Okay, give me the stat of the day for a second. I'm going to give you one off of yesterday's game, but we didn't play the best part of those goal calls.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day.
Chris just admitted to me he didn't look anything up.
That's such a surprise.
I believed him for a moment.
They all just back here, Chris and Tony talking, it would be impossible to look up. Right. And they're like, well, you could look up. You could see every time they took a lead. Nah, too much work.
Well, somebody did look it up. We should be crediting them. Instead, we're stealing it, not crediting them, and you're not even looking it up. Ladies and gentlemen, journalism. Chris Cody, learn from his father.
Also, he said the first 5. I knew that was BS.
Right, of
first
course.
5, please give me a break.
Jeez.
Okay, there's so many stats off this game, Stugotz. But last night, to punctuate that series and end that loser franchise that way.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida.
They're losers.
But they are. They're
right.
they're historic losers. They play in that game. When they do, they always lose it. And no one ever loses it like that. Like that doesn't happen at home. But they knew it was going to happen. They knew after the first goal. They knew that's how that was going to go. Like that. Toronto is a sad sack franchise of 0-7 in all the games that matter. That's not the great stat. This is the great stat. Just from in the last couple of games, you had the Florida Panthers, champions, in the situation they had to win 2 out of 3 on the road. They were an overtime goal from being down 3-0, Stugotz. They were an overtime goal from being finished. And then they've got to go on the road and win 2 out of 3 in Toronto. And we can admit, right, you've seen those crowds. They were trying to believe. They wanted to believe. They were an overtime goal from being up 3-0 and dethroning the champions. After that happened, the Florida Panthers didn't merely score 12 goals and outscore the Toronto 12-4.
It's so many goals.
Yeah.
But not so many goals. Like, that'd be one thing. What if I gave you odds on what I'm about to say? What odds do you think if I told you right as Game 5 was beginning, here's what's going to happen. The Panthers are going to get 12 goals. They're going to all be from 12 different players, and none of them are going to be named Kachuk or Barkov.
Is that the stat? Or?
What kind of odds do you think you'd get on that? 12 goals, 12 different players, none of them are Barkov or Kachuk. That's nuts. Like, that's a depth that makes this year's Panthers team better than the last two. Because at the end, what you've got finishing Toronto is the greatest Toronto finisher of all time. Marchand is now 5-0 against them in elimination games. They're 0-7 in their last 7. This goes back to 2013. And the most amazing thing that happened yesterday, and it's why Mike Ryan's not here today, that coward. After the game, Paul Maurice said, I used to hate him. Hate's a strong word, but I didn't know him. He's the opposite of the person I thought. And then here's the quote. He's a wonderful human being. It's the most shocking thing to happen in the last 3 games. A goal and 2 assists for Marchand, and he punctuates it by stabbing that country in the heart. It's got to make him crazy that it's a swamp in Carolina.
And Dallas. I mean, think of the 3 teams, 3 of the 4 teams remaining.
It's got to make those losers in Canada crazy.
Now you're talking.
Did you see there's this one clip where they're watching, what's it called, like Maple Leaf Square, whatever they call it, outside.
Oh, in my veins.
Where they're all watching outside the arena. And I don't know if it was at 3-0 or maybe it was at 4-1. This one rogue Maple Leafs fan, he pushes his way through the crowd, bumps through everybody, and just dips. Just by himself, walks out with everybody staring at him in shock. Oh, I loved it.
I feel like you spoke to the depth of this series is the story of this series. I can make the argument our third and fourth. Well, the third line was clearly the best line in the series. I can make the argument that the fourth line was the second best line for the Panthers. I know Barkov and Reinhart were actually really good in this series defensively. Like, they didn't put up stats scoring, but I just Zaz, the depth of is that not the story of this series?
I don't know if it's the story of the series, but I think the Panthers' fourth line was better than the Marner Matthews line. I think that.
Yeah, 3 goals from the third line, 1 goal from the fourth line. Secondary scoring for the Panthers really carried them.
I think the story is, especially with the way that the series ended, the 2 acquisitions that Bill Zito made, Marchand and Seth Jones.
The Seth
in
Jones
a
game.
Game 7. In a Game 7, you found out what Seth Jones about.
Nobody likes I told you so guy. And
Sorry.
Roy is I told you so guy. We have established that, correct?
Seth Jones, my dog.
But
I also told you that they would win Game 5 on the road, lose
And I
Game
told
6,
you so off?
and win Game 7.
oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Isn't I told
that's
Everyone was
Roy
right.
just was just generally confident.
Okay. You know what?
I before Game 5, I told you specifically, gonna win tonight, gonna lose Game 6.
Is that on
gonna
wax?
win in
Do we
7.
have that
No,
recorded
is
somewhere?
on
We gotta
wax.
go
Let's find
that.
that. Let's find that.
Stugotz, can we put together an I told you so off? Like you would totally
Please, yes.
totally be the host of an I told you so off. I did text Roy after that first period. By the way, but just for the record, if you don't know what we're talking about and you did not watch that game, you've got Toronto at home, and the best part of these goal calls is what I'm going to play for you in a second because they edited it out, and it's just tremendous. But these people know hockey. So when they're seeing 75 shots in 2 periods, they're like, oh, good God. Like, we were totally lucky in that first period. And this is an onslaught of we're going to dent the goalie's nipples because 75 shots is an insanity.
Dan, at one point in the first period, late in the first period, Kenny Albert, with a straight face, said on the broadcast that the Panthers are out shooting the Maple Leafs 26-0.
And I'm telling you, after all that, because I know the Leafs, after the Panthers dominated the first 10 minutes, the Leafs kind of got their act together. But after that first period, Panther fans were kind of feeling good. I wasn't. I was like, this is 4 straight periods. We haven't scored. I was starting to see the boogeyman. Even though we were playing well, we weren't getting goals. So I was terrified. I've never been happier. That Seth Jones goal going in. Oh, the noise I made.
Stugotz, I don't want to think about the noises that you made. What's worse, an I told you so off, or Tony, who just got here, now claiming he's the good luck charm?
It's a sacrificial one, though, Dan. That's where it's like, it's sacrificial in the sense where anytime that I stop watching, they do well. Anytime I bet on the other team, the Panthers win. So yesterday, I was locked in on the game, Dan, okay? First one that I've seen start to finish, except for a little bit. And I'll explain why. So my wife looks at me, hey, what's for dinner? I said, I don't know. What do you want? Let's pick up something. I said, all right. During the first intermission, I'll go out, I'll get something, I'll come back, right? First intermission was quick. It was a quick 20 minutes. All of a sudden, I'm on my way back, 3 goals scored. Because I'm not watching. Right? So it was watching the first period. Bam, bam, bam. Shots going in off the side, off the post, wall. Bam. Grabs one. I don't know. Whatever they call that.
This happened to a lot of Panther fans. No. This happened to a lot of Panther fans. I got a text from my friend John last night in the middle of the second period. He's like, I went to put my daughter to bed after the first period, and we started scoring. I'm still laying in her bed watching on my phone. This guy knew what he had to do. When you are laying down in your bed watching the game and you're putting your kid to bed and they score 3 goals, you don't get up from that bed and go back downstairs. You stay in that bed while your kid is sleeping watching the rest of the game because it's good luck for you to be in that bed. And thank you, John, for your service. Thank you for what you did last night.
I literally said to my wife last night after the second period, she wanted to go upstairs and go to sleep.
Nope.
I said, listen, you could want that all you want. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
You've been sitting right there. The score's 4-1. You're not going anywhere. You close your eyes if you want, but you're not going anywhere.
Bedtime's 9:15. My daughter didn't go to bed till after that second period. You're not leaving in the middle of this second period where you scored 3 goals in 6 minutes.
So right. I watched the Heat come back against the Bucks from a bathroom because I went to the bathroom. They were down 16. They start coming back. I stayed in that bathroom.
It's that guy, to answer your question, Dan. The guy who thinks he's doing the things that help the team win.
I know. I don't like that guy. I don't like when our show
But it
becomes
works,
that
Dan.
guy.
You don't know it.
works.
It might have been
there,
different.
guys.
It works.
It might have been different if I didn't do that. You don't know that.
You guys are pathetic.
I have one more example of me being a good luck charm. Okay.
You're pathetic narcissist.
Sure, possibly. Team needed me. Exactly, Zaz. Thank you. Game 3. They're about to go down 3-0. Overtime. We're watching with a group of friends. I go, I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk outside right now. The Panthers are going to score. Because if I'm here, they won't score. They'll lose. If I'm not here, they're going to score. They're going to win. I walked out. 2 minutes later, bam. Save the season. Thank you.
Tony.
You just wanted to smoke a joint, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Guys, I'm going to go outside for the team.
Tony,
I'll be back in
Dog
10
walker.
minutes.
What happened?
Were you outside when they stole your gimmick? Were you watching as it
I was
happening?
disgusted. No, I was locked in. So I'm watching the pregame. All of a sudden, a guy called Biz. I don't know who he is. Who is
All
he?
business.
You don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is. Damn, I'm just getting into the sport, buddy. What do you want me to do?
Right.
All right,
Would you
so-
believe me when I tell
team.
you that he played in the National Hockey League but never played for the Leafs?
Yeah.
What?
Well, he grew up a Leafs fan, but yeah, never.
He
actually
never played for them.
Yeah.
I thought this guy would be like their all-time leading scorer or something. So I'm watching the thing. I'm on the couch. My wife's got the baby. We're hanging out. All of a sudden, this guy gets up from the dais there, starts walking over to the side of the set, and then he starts lighting a candle. My wife perks up. My wife, who has knows less hockey than I do. Okay, she goes, "That's your bit," and I look up from my phone and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's my bit. Can we please zoom in on what this guy Biz Nasty is doing? He's lighting up candles
For all their
that look
stars.
eerily similar.
These thieves. They
Eerily similar, Dan Le Batard, to a very particular and one-of-a-kind San Boselli Belita. Okay? Look at that. I don't know who these guys are, but they're imposters.
He lit
Look
a
at the
candle
original
for
one right
Marner,
there. Look at the original one right there, and I lit it in the studio.
Huh.
Okay, and that has been war-torn right there, that Samboselli. Jags were down 21-0. Okay, we lit the Samboselli. All of a sudden, bam, Jags win. Greatest comeback of their lifetime.
Who is this Biz?
Who is he? I don't know, but he's a thief. En un descarado.
Yeah, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
Sinvergüenza.
Biz un sinvergüenza descarado.
Me and Zaslow are wondering how many hockey terms Tony knows. I mean,
We will quiz him in a moment. Let's figure out the game show in a second. It's fun for the entire family. Let's quiz him and ask him questions in a moment. But I just want to read you guys some stats because 75 shot attempts are the most allowed by any team this season through 2 periods, regular season and playoffs. It's crazy. You have, all right, that's the largest margin of a Game 7 loss at home in NHL history. It's tied for the previous record. They've been playing hockey a long time. You do not lose Game 7 at home that way. Like, I've never seen it. I don't know when the last, it happened one other time. Don't remember it. Couldn't tell you. I've never seen it. What was it, 1912? How long is hockey history? As long as ice has been frozen, you never see a Game 7 look like that when one of the teams is at home. The Bill Zito thing that you guys mentioned, Tim Reynolds says all Bill Zito has done is get Paul Maurice to unretire, land Matthew Tkachuk, sign basically the entire core to team-friendly deals, win the Cup last year, and this year he adds Seth Jones and Brad Marchand at the deadline, and they lead the way to a Game 7 road win, GM of the year.
hockey started November of 1917.
Okay, so tell me the last time. This was tied for the largest loss at home ever, and this is what brings me to the greatest part of these goal calls. I'm telling you, Stugotz, because I've never been able to do this before. I've never had this confidence that I know what I'm watching is top of the game excellent, that it doesn't matter that Toronto was better in this regular season because the Panthers are best at the hockey stuff that works this time of year. We learned it. They changed the whole blueprint because the Capitals, what they just did in the playoffs, that happened to the Panthers. That don't work in the playoffs. And so while I'm sitting here and I've got all technology available to me, the way that I want to listen to the hockey game is the way that I learned hockey in this market on our radio show because Randy Moeller was loving this team on the radio when no one would listen to it because it was a funny little thing in town that couldn't make sales work, like failed ownership after failed ownership. I learned to love it on the radio somehow, which is ridiculous. It's not any good on the radio. Like, that's not the way to watch hockey.
If you have, well, you're not watching it, you're listening to it.
Thank you.
You got it.
I feel like it's like Mike Ryan's reading, where it's.
I was reading the audiobook, but listening
like reading.
to
So I feel like radio is watching when it's done well. It's one of the reasons that I love radio. So this is how I decide to listen to in hugely important games. Zaz left here the other day saying, and he's like, God, I hope the Panthers get up 1-0. Because then you can hear the fear through the audio if you're paying attention to nothing else, none of the distractions. And so I decide via YouTube and one of these streamers who's just doing a radio call, I'm listening to the Toronto broadcasters call this game. And what I'm listening for after their sadness, which is great enough, is the silence that comes afterward in the murmur of those losers know they're going to lose.
In my veins.
Those losers know they're going to lose. They know the swamp owns them, owns their country. They know that Florida owns hockey there the last 10 years. And all they do in this situation is lose this game every time. And you can feel it in the building and you can feel it in the audio.
2002 Western Conference Finals, the Avalanche lost to the Red Wings 7-0, Game 7.
Okay,
there
so
it is.
It did happen in my lifetime.
Yes.
Again, this was before radio and hockey, and I fell in love with the sport.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to the murmur, and this extends through that garden all the way through the country. Like it burns through their forests. They wake up sick today. They know they're losers. The swamp owns them. And listen to the silence in that arena when they weren't booing or leaving, because they were doing that too. Because once it's 3-0, everyone there knows, why am I here for the guillotine? Like, am I going to just sit in this sadness? Listen to the silence after these goals.
As they continue to be aggressive. Scores!
And they continue to score.
Oh, boy.
Sam Reinhart. And it's a 4-goal lead with just over 10 minutes to go.
So hollow.
I think I was able to hear the jersey hit the ice from the crowd.
They were doing that,
And
huh?
you can clearly hear the music, like so clear, because it's just so hollow in there.
Good acoustics in that building.
Sent it down into the empty net. An exclamation point off the stick of Marchand, his third point tonight, as he will go 5-0 in Game 7s against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Sounds like a Marlins game.
It does.
Play it again.
Brad Marchand is now second all-time in postseason points against the Maple Leafs. Second all-time. History of the franchise, behind only Gordie Howe.
Now, if Mike wants to do the whole take of I'm not going to root for him, that's his prerogative. But the whole he's not good thing, I need an apology for that. Wow. Because the guy he's made the third line better. He's great. And I need an apology from Mike.
How is that possible?
Can you cut up Chris saying that as the ultimate compliment? He's great. Just that you were trying to articulate the flowery of prose and you just quit in the middle of your sentence.
I mean, I just was trying to find the words, and great was the word.
It really works.
You found it.
Nah, let Mike keep doing this because the Panthers are winning. The Panthers are winning despite.
Actually, he might know what he's doing here.
Again, with this narcissism, we're the reason they win. Again.
That's right.
No, I mean, it's just asinine.
I just said that
right.
guy is annoying, but Mike has to stay entrenched. He does. I mean, he's helping him out.
Okay, look. This. I believe Mike Ryan strategically took this position because he wants the Panthers to win so badly that he will do the ultimate sacrifice, that he's Jesus of hockey. He will be loud wrong and stubbornly loud wrong as content the entire time. And if he's the most wrong at the end, he gets to celebrate because Marchand has won in overtime of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final with a goal to give them the season.
Yep.
And he will then have won, even though he is the loudest, wrongest loser from here through Canada.
Speaking of being entrenched in a terrible take, Whitty will join us in the next segment.
Well, they've been looking. I have felt bad for the producers today because they have spent the last 2 hours mining through the rubbish that is the sound from us at the Clevelander when Chris Whittingham, after Huberdeau was traded, quit the Panthers forever.
They tore apart a team that was amazing. Like, from a fan standpoint, like, I go to a lot of games, and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10 because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
they
goals.
Only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points, you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
Listen, pal, to Maurice is one of the most disrespectful things.
Listen
I've
to
ever
me.
heard.
Listen to me, pal.
I mean, Zaslow fired him, so.
I can't believe that Chris Whittingham would show his face in public.
Listen, pal.
No, that's part of it. Yes, condescending Paul Maurice is one thing. Again, Paul Maurice's record since Whitty said that, 27-0 anytime he has a lead after a period.
Man, these guys have no idea what they're talking about, huh?
I did dub Paul Maurice that year the murderer of fun.
Yeah, you did.
You don't get away with that. Everyone needs to know
fair.
that. No.
Hockey Town. It's actually a good take because he is. Just the other team's fun.
To be fair.
Whittingham should not show his face in public after that, but also to be condescended by anybody with a listen, pal, is one thing. For that bespectacled polysyllabic broadcasting foof with his gelled hair to hit you with a listen, pal, as if he knows more hockey than you just because he's 30 years old and a child prodigy who gets to call soccer games.
How about anyone in South Florida telling a hockey lifer, listen, pal?
I love it.
Whittingham is the most wrong anyone has ever been about hockey. Do you understand that?
And basketball. He called Giannis a number 2.
Yes, he did call Giannis a number 2.
That again, I only know soccer, guys. I don't know when we're going to understand this.
But
only know soccer.
Honestly, we are creeping into the territory where this Panthers take is worse than that Giannis
Listen,
take. Because that Giannis take is atrocious.
He's one of the best power forwards of all time. I want to nominate this right here. I want to play it again and nominate this right here as a Hall of Famer, all-time wrong take. There are others, but in the history of the show and the history of spoken words, given that, Stugotz, I'm coming in here today and I'm saying, oh my God, the Panthers have the best thing. They have the most excellent thing. It's not temporary. They will go in and do that to you, and I will have the confidence to listen to it on the equivalent of the radio because I know I'm going to enjoy silences because they're better than you at this kind of hockey, even if they were worse than you the rest of the regular season. And Whittingham, again, they do murder fun. We said last year, wasn't it great? They're in the corner for 90 seconds. McDavid's right in front of the net. The puck's not coming out.
Goosebumps.
We know the puck's not coming out, but the fun was murdered there.
Once we scored last night, I wanted Mikkola to play the entire game in the corner. Just throw the puck down to Mikkola. God, I love when he's on the ice.
Meikle almost killed the referee.
He did. That also happened.
That was scary, man.
Dude, was his eyeball out? What happened there?
There was a good 10-second chunk where we all thought he was going to lose an eye, but luckily he got him right above the eye. How about that backup referee coming in? I just imagine that guy's probably like the backup referee never goes in. So I'm imagining that guy's got his feet up, eating a burger, just like, this is my free game. Just shit.
I want to get to this most wrong take, and I want other nominees in our show's history. I've got a couple. But the idea, Stugotz, that I'm going to say it again because it's equally ridiculous. 12 goals by 12 players, not named Kachuk or Barkov, would be as ridiculous a stat to me as 12 goals by 13 players, and none of them are Kachuk or Barkov. That stat makes no sense to me. To get 12 goals from 12 players in the most important games of your season.
Well, I can understand Matthew Kachuk not scoring because he is hurt. He looked bad out there.
I said that
body.
too.
Yep.
I said that too, that he's hurt.
Another I told you so. You're that guy now. So he's
not hitting anybody.
So wait a minute. You're that guy. You're the guy.
Roy should be that guy.
No, but all of you are now doctors. You're now doctors, and you're the guy who points at your television and says, he's too hurt to be out there.
We just know our Chucky, and he's hitting people, but it's not the way he normally hits people.
I'm a doctor.
You concur?
You concur? I thought you were a judge.
I'm not a doctor.
I know. But as a judge, do you want to make a ruling on this?
Is Kachuk hurt?
Judge Zaslow rules inconclusive evidence. Inconclusive.
Wow.
With prejudice.
Wow.
Inconclusive.
No.
Do you guys want to quiz Tony now? Do you guys have an assortment of questions to ask Tony? Roy, did you come up with any game show music that could support whatever it is that Zaslow is doing here?
I did not.
You did not? You just stared straight ahead, grinning maniacally because the Hockeys have you intoxicated and made you forget to do your job.
That's right.
Okay, so you're just sitting there smiling.
I mean, the Panthers won, Dano.
I know. Okay, so hold on.
He's just been singing back here like humming.
Roy's day, man.
So Roy, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I made this mistake during the last hockey playoffs where Roy was at the elbow room with the cup, and I was yelling at him. So I'm not going to make the same mistake this time.
Thank you.
Roy, the floor is yours, but while you're talking about whatever it is that you would like to say about the Panthers, can somebody please get me game show music so I could play the hot new game of Tony Gets Quizzed by Stugotz and Zaz because someone's executive producing the show instead of just smiling at me because the Panthers have him drunk with power.
He's just like, what's up, Dan?
I'm here.
So please, Roy, you were not scared. I texted you, you're scared, and you're like, nope, we had it even more. We is what you said. As soon as Drake made that giant bet, I believe you were taunting Drake on X.
Yes, I was. You were
very excited.
Yeah, he's been a loser for the past year and a half. And once he put money down in this game, I knew the Panthers were going to win. And the way the Panthers looked in the first 10 minutes of that game, that was classic Panthers. The only thing
What about the second 10 minutes? What about the second 10 minutes?
Yeah,
that was scary.
That was a bit concerning.
That was everyone's analysis of that first period. Tale of two periods.
It was
10 minutes. Like, it was just like all 9 people that I heard talk about that period. It was hilarious.
It absolutely was a tale of two periods. But second and third period, it was game over. As soon as they got that first goal, I said on Twitter, currently known as X, that once you get Bob 2, it's it. That's how well he was playing. That last 10 minutes, that's how great he was playing.
Nobody likes this fan base. Nobody likes this team. They are the murderers of fun. Everyone hates this show. This conversation of swaggering around, I told you so, we're the baddest and the best because you beat the Leafs. And what cometh this way is scary. Canada's only got a one chance, but I'm scared of it.
What, Winnipeg?
No,
not Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's out,
Winnipeg.
Stugotz.
They're out.
They lost Stugotz.
Oh, that was a story right there with Mark Scheifele. He lost his father on Friday and decided to play Game 6 on Saturday. And he scored. He played an excellent game, but he got caught with a penalty on a breakaway, and the Stars scored in overtime.
You can't call that penalty.
So it's his fault. You're saying that they lost?
No. I'm not. No. It was a tale of two games for him.
It was wild to go from he scores the first goal, and you're like, what an awesome moment, to going to overtime. He does the penalty and loses them the game.
He was stuck in the box.
So the Oilers won that series, huh?
No, the Stars.
The Stars.
Listen,
Oilers.
You know what?
Coach
Hold
K,
on a
Dead and
second.
Company.
Oilers won too.
right.
Mike
He's right about that.
Verdozing. I mean, the Oilers did win, right? They
Yes,
won
they did.
something.
Okay.
They moved on, right?
They beat Vegas.
Thank you.
Hold on.
I had some oil.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay of show.
The Grateful Dead has gotten him. A lot of you have been asking where is Stugotz, and we thought he was going to be here all last week, but when the Grateful Dead ransack him, he will see 1,000 Krzyzewskis across 1,000 desert miles for 1,000 days.
So much shoe polish.
And we've lost him, and so he hasn't been paying attention to sports. And I'm going to say, just generally, the last 4 years of mushrooms has fried what little remained of his brain.
I'm just grateful he's here.
Thank you, Jeremy. You're going to have to leave as
Whoa!
well.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, high sticking.
You're 2 for 2 on those, by the way. You found those buttons really well.
I'm learning. Give me time. I'm going to figure out this radio game. The soundboard. What? We're a podcast?
All right, our game show's ready. We have our host here. We have our music ready.
But I love Roy just grinning maniacally in the middle of this and just forgetting to do his job. And I wish, can we get him a crown or something? Because I really do want to do this better than I did it last year. I failed Roy. I owe Roy a public and private apology because he was at the elbow room and the trophy was there and I was yelling at him. And just that group of things shouldn't be.
I got dibs on that beat if we win again this year.
No.
I mean, we can maybe both go. That next day, I'm going to be there. Shirtless.
Whoa.
Hammered.
Whoa.
I just remember last year sitting in this room that day just being like, why am I not there?
Shirtless, hammered, and pink.
Okay,
Whatever
can
you
we
need.
can
Whatever
we not
you need.
Okay, can we not talk about what we're gonna do when the Panthers
You're
win
right.
Stanley Cup
You're right.
again?
You're right.
Please.
Get past Carolina.
Such an
Please.
annoying show. And Carolina, you should be scared of Carolina. Admit you should be scared of Carolina. Admit it. Admit it. Admit it.
We swept them the year before.
No, they didn't sweep them. Rob Binsmore said that was not a sweep.
Yeah, that was
I mean, there were 2 overtime games, so yeah, sure.
No,
I will
count
say,
for it.
though, Roy, it's similar styles with
Yes.
the Hurricanes. That scares me a little bit.
Yeah, but the Panthers are better at that style than they are. So
Okay, and he will be confident, and this show will be annoying. I'm sorry for that. I apologize in advance. I told everyone to pace themselves. We're here. We are officially a just buzzsaw of annoying as a show. The people who do not like hockey do not care about what we're doing. And when it becomes, I told you so, I had that more right. I was correct. I'm the good luck charm. And I was superstitious and sitting on the right seat in my couch. And my wife knows when it becomes that show,
Remember, John in his bed, putting
nobody
his
likes
kid to
that
bed.
show.
Thank you, John.
Nobody likes that show. But you know the show they do like? The most wrong take in the history of this show. Roy's just smiling at me again. He's not doing his job.
Apart a team that was amazing. Like from a fan standpoint, like I go to a lot of games and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10 because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
they
goals.
only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points if you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
What an asshole.
But Mike said it best. The press box has changed. I mean, seriously, get over yourself. We're going to talk during the post game. Tim Reynolds, enough. I mean, enough.
I mean,
seriously.
you just got to know when
You're
the
not allowed to cheer in the press box. Did you know that?
Well, I did.
They were cheering for Will Manso. I think that's allowed.
And Goldie.
If the Dan Le Batard Show comes to a hockey press box, hilarity is going to ensue.
Yeah.
They're going to yell at Will Manso for 7 minutes, and you're probably going to have to go to a stairwell to write, man.
If it was 7 minutes, I'd get it.
It
was
is what
7
it is.
seconds.
Exactly. I mean, David, everyone else was saying hi. They were enjoying the show. They were laughing at us. But one guy is still clutching on to his newspaper deadline.
I'm a little
and it's
disappointed.
Tim Reynolds.
And is he your demographics, too?
I don't know.
I happen to like Tim a lot, and
Enough of
I
him.
imagine this was going to be like E.J. Raddick or something, but that's just a bad look for Tim Reynolds.
Listen, I went up to him afterwards.
This was the best part. Stugotz is like, I've known Tim for years. I'm going to go fix this. He walked to Tim and walked right back very quickly.
Yep.
It was a very quick interaction.
Well, he was writing. Okay?
He's on deadline. It's
enough of the deadline.
It's a
We're on deadline. I feel like playoff hockey. I got to get home. I mean,
yeah, we're on deadline too. We got to get that post game out.
It is a working press box. Tim Reynolds is a journalist who's trying to write, and Stugotz is back there. Hey, Will Manso!
That was Chris and Goldie. Don't leave out Goldie.
We're on deadline too. They're going to kick us out of that press box a lot sooner than they'll kick out Tim Reynolds, who's just typing away. That's just
Those writers had their game stories done before the end of the game.
Precisely.
Yeah, a good writer, right?
Oh,
what happened there? I apologized to him. I've known Tim for decades. I mean, Cody was done. He was out of there. I mean, you know.
What was that interaction like, Stugotz? Take us behind the scenes. You walk up to him, you say what, he says what?
I said, Tim, I apologize. That's on me. I should know better. Not Chris, okay? I should know better. I've been in press boxes before. I know you have a deadline. I apologize. And he said, that's fine. Just, try to keep it down.
That is way too long.
That was
way
much longer than the actual conversation.
I always extend it a little bit. I mean, you guys
can we
know that.
call Tim Reynolds and just ask him about what the interaction was like?
No.
Greg Cody's back in my day. Seeds.
Seeds. Seeds. Had a slice of watermelon lately? Popped a few grapes in your maw? Then you probably notice seeds are disappearing from fruit. And you probably see this as a good thing just because it makes life a little easier. We love us some convenience. In fact, it's a terrible thing, the de-seeding of us. Symbolically alone, the seed is the king of life. Adam gave his to Eve, and here we are, if you believe the story. If they take the seed out of humans the way we have watermelons, we're all dead ducks. Beans, peas, rice, coffee, corn, all seeds. Flour and oil started as seeds. All hail seeds. So what the hell is happening? In exchange for convenience, we are not valuing the seed's impact on health, biodiversity, and our food system. The genetic variability of most plants require seeds as essential to their evolution. De-seeded, artificially homogenized fruits rely on human intervention in the reproductive process, exposing the fruits to many pathogens. Plainly put, seedless fruits are not as good for you. They contain less fiber and have fewer minerals and vitamins than their seeded natural brethren. Seedless fruits also have fewer antioxidants, plant-based nutrients, and anti-inflammatory properties. But enough about this science. Bring back seeds because seeds are fun. Not to mention aesthetically and visually pleasing. Kids growing up today have sliced open a watermelon, have never sliced open a watermelon, and experienced the joy of seeing that juicy red flesh dotted with embedded black seeds. Nellie Doogie used to tell us if we swallowed a watermelon seed, a big melon would grow on our belly. It wasn't true. But as kids would make a competition out of seed spitting. You extracted the big seeds from the melon flesh. Tongue only, never fingers or a utensil, and you'd see who could project a seed the farthest. Every summer we did that. This was before video games, kids. Made our own games and toys. Flew a kite, kicked a can, spit a seed. Grapes were the real challenge because the seeds were so much smaller. We'd both pop a grape in our mouth, tongue moving, jaws in action, and whoever could spit out 3 seeds onto the table the fastest won. To this day, I carve real pumpkins and eschew the prefab foam and plastic fakes, mainly for the treasure trove of seeds inside. Hundreds and hundreds of them waiting to be scraped out, cleaned, and roasted in the oven to become delicious natural snacks. Respect, worship, and bring back the seeds. I need a t-shirt that says convenience is overrated. Insist to your local grocer that you'll take your watermelon seeded, please, and the grapes too. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day.
Journalism is dead.
But journalism, as we know it, as you know it, what you wanted to do when you were a little kid, okay, it has changed. It has. It's changed, okay? You're not wrong. Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. You have to adapt sometimes, okay? Because the game has changed. Your priorities have shifted. No one cares how someone goes and gets the news that they get, as long as the news is accurate, as long as it's coming from a credible place. If it's Woj, if it's Adam Schefter, if it's you, if it's Diana Rossini, if it's Shams, nobody cares. You might care. Greg Cody might care. Stephen A. Smith might care. But you know what? You all sold out. Every single one of you, okay? Stephen A. Smith jumped inside the circus tent. I don't blame him. Why'd he do it? Because he had to do it. Because the game has changed. You jumped inside the circus tent. You did. You did so with me. Think about that. With me and with Greg Cody every Tuesday, okay? And so you have ditched journalism a long, long time ago because why? Survival of the fittest, Dan. You have to change with the times. You have to roll with a changing environment, roll with a changing industry, and that's what you decided to do. That's what Stephen A. decided to do. And for Woj, for guys like him, the game has changed slightly, where he went out and he sought reports, and he wanted to be the reporter. And you know what? If now he has morphed into a mouthpiece for the Blazers, I'm okay with it. I am good with it. I don't care.
Survival of the fattest.
Everyone, exactly. Everyone is selling out to make a buck.
What a terrible timing.
It was great.
Like that joke.
Hey, just give it up. You all want to be journalists. You're not journalists anymore. None of you. Not a one of you. Sorry.
You didn't even hear the joke. You
I
said
did. Survival of the fattest. It was great.
It just could have been done after Stugotz stopped talking, Dan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoehorn that
But
in.
I'm okay. I'm okay
You're
with
splitting
it.
hairs.
Right.
Okay.
You adapt. You roll with things, man. That's it. You know, Dan, you started off, you know, if you're a driver, you drove a yellow cab and you were loyal to the yellow cab. You know what? But the game has changed to Uber, to Lyft, to private driving. And you know what? You have to ditch the yellow cab and you have to drive an Uber. Why? Because you'll make more money. Why? Because more people are taking Uber than the dirty yellow cabs. That's why. That's what you do. No one cares about journalism. You know what they care about? Laughing, being entertained. And you do a great job of that. And Stephen A. Smith does a great job of that. No one cares about journalism. People care about smiling. That's it.
You know, this morning I found myself while I was driving Claire to school. I told her, you know, you ask a lot of questions. This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So now that the local historians are making their way around this team that has been Roy's for a lifetime, David Dwork, who does the hockey show with Roy sometimes on Fridays, says 4 seasons ago the Panthers hadn't been out of the first round since 1996. Now they're headed to a third straight conference final. Barry Jackson writes, whether they win another title or not, these 2022-2025 Panthers are the second best pro team in our market this century, behind only the Big Three era Heat. For a franchise to repeatedly make this many good personnel decisions is something to behold.
I just got goosebumps, legitimately.
I mean, those Canes, they were a pro team.
Yes, I'd say the Hurricanes as well, of early 2001, best college football team I saw before Burrow's LSU team. I just genuinely don't know, as we welcome in our beloved Chris Whittingham, the fancy lad, how this person is capable of showing his face in public. with as wrong a take as there has ever been in the history of this market and in the history of sports. We have now on take, we want to play for Whittingham an assortment of bad takes that we have here, okay? He's responsible for 2 of them, Stugotz.
Wow.
Historically bad takes. So I'd just like to put in front of Whittingham first, Roy, his Giannis take. The Giannis take that that he talked about Giannis as being only a number 2, and then Giannis immediately won the championship as a number 1 after almost breaking his leg. Let's hear the full take.
Giannis is probably the NBA's best number 2 because I think it's kind of been determined that he can't be your 1. And like in terms of his specific skill set and the areas of the game in which he struggles, you can't rely upon him to get baskets at the end.
So is that more wrong than your take immediately after the Panthers, desecrated by you? I don't think there's anyone in sports media looking more like a fool around this hockey team than you, Chris Whittingham. Welcome, by the way. It's nice to see you again.
Hey, guys. Glad to be back, as ever. Just play the take already. Enough.
They tore apart a team that was amazing. Like, from a fan standpoint, like, I go to a lot of games, and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10, because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
they
goals.
only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points, you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
The pal is so important. It is.
The thing is that I still kind of back myself on that.
Oh, come on, man.
I still back myself on I don't enjoy this at all. Now, I haven't watched a single Panthers game this year, but I don't enjoy the way that they play whatsoever. I don't know about you guys. Did you not find the style like mind-numbing? The fact that no one can score a goal, no one can get a shot off in this series is appalling. I would also say, obviously, a lot of this centers around the Matthew Tkachuk trade. I don't know about you guys, but I've never felt more confident about my opinion on that trade.
Listen, pal.
I just watched Matthew Tkachuk score 0 goals in a 7-game series. I watched him have a plus-minus of 0, while the Florida Panthers had a plus-minus of 10. I feel like he's contributing nothing to the cause. I think they are overcoming this albatross of a long-term contract that they have in order to still win playoff games anyway. I feel more confident in my takes from 2 years ago than I did even then.
That's gross. I love you looking up that plus-minus thing, just like, oh, maybe I can find something here, and you came back with 0. It's not like he's negative. You're like, oh, I looked up all these stats
but
I could
relative
find.
to the team was plus 10. He was 0. He's contributing nothing.
He's hurt.
He said about last night. They won by 6-1. His plus-minus was -1 last night.
Whittingham.
This guy don't know puck. He doesn't know puck.
Nah, this guy's a pro. He gets it. This is a hot take master.
Can we just?
You know what happened, Chris? Is I saw the Florida Panthers logo in the background behind Dan, and I was like, I need some armament. I need to look up a stat that's going to somehow back my opinion.
That's what you have to head into a war with, armament.
Yeah.
I don't like. It's a mint from an armor. That's how Whittingham enters a fight, with a breath mint. That's how he begins.
Tic Tac.
Those red and white ones that you get at a restaurant that are in a bowl that you only see at the bowl at the front desk of a restaurant. You don't see anywhere else in public.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you ever see the striped peppermints anywhere other than at that cheap restaurant?
What about the brown and green version of those? Because those are even more rare than the normal peppermint. I love that extra flavor. You've never had that? The kind of mint chocolate chip version?
I've had it, but I haven't seen it. A restaurant has never been so bold as to go that route.
Oh, really?
Steele's
American Cafe in Weston.
Did COVID kill toothpicks? Because I don't find toothpicks at restaurants anymore.
I still find them.
Really?
Yeah, hibachi.
I was walking out of a restaurant twice this weekend where I'm just like, where's the toothpick? I used to love grabbing a toothpick on the way out.
I hear you.
Kind of a gross thing to give out to people at a restaurant. You're basically
it's like
saying,
dental
pick
floss.
food out of your teeth in public. We're allowing you to do this very gross thing in front of others.
No,
Take care of it at home with some floss.
You're supposed to do it when you leave. You're not supposed to do it at the table.
It should be a tiny,
Not at the table, but like you're walking, you're like standing in the parking lot fishing food out of your teeth. Like that's not.
I just
that's
chew
not
the
good.
toothpick, right? Do you guys actually pick stuff out of your teeth? I'm just like,
No, it's just cool.
It's just a
Yeah,
vibe.
right.
Cinnamon toothpicks.
Yes, if they're minty, of course. But Whittingham's not wrong when he says, why don't you just give someone a little dental kit with a little toothbrush and say, why don't you clean yourself up on the way out?
A little deodorant on the way out?
Old dirty mouth. Why don't you clean that up, old dirty
Yeah.
mouth?
Why don't we have one communal bottle of mouthwash? We all gargle, and you can fix up your breath while you're on your way out as well. A little spit bucket, maybe.
Again, a breath mint connoisseur here. One Chris Whittingham joins us. We haven't seen you in a while. How has it been? You've made some of the biggest and best gold calls, and you're on a surfboard at the top of your dreams. It makes me want to punch you in the face.
Yeah, honestly, I think I called over 2 legs maybe the greatest games that I will ever call. It's kind of wild to feel like I've already hit the peak of my career. We had the Champions League semifinal at CBS between Inter and Barcelona. It finished 7-6 over 2 legs, and every moment something was happening, and I felt like I was yelling for 2.5 hours straight. I have never been so committed to it. I woke up the next day sort of like with an adrenal fatigue, but honestly, it is kind of wild to be watching something unfold in front of you and go, I think this is as good as it ever gets. Like, I think even if, like, I don't know, by some grace of God, I call like a World Cup final or something, I don't think the game will ever be as good as that game was. And I don't know how much you guys are following soccer these days, but that Barcelona team is honestly as fun as any team that I have ever watched in my life. It is so ridiculously fun.
That's Stugotz going into the old wheelhouse and getting one of his Hall of Fame moves, where he's just like like he's been reading up on the magical arts of Barca.
That's what you've been doing with all your off time, Stugotz? Has been watching some Lamine Yamal highlights?
He's gone from soccer.
That would be a remarkable turn from you if all of a sudden you showed up like, guys, after 3 months, I got into soccer. It's great. I'm watching Serie A every weekend now. It's unbelievable.
Not what happened. Instead, he just went to Vegas and saw 1,000 Krzyzewskis.
Serie A, by the way. I mean, know your soccer.
I want to get to this game show that we're trying to get off the ground here, where Zaz asked Tony hockey questions. But first, I want to. So he's not backing down on either of those takes. But from the room, which take is worse? The Panthers take or the Giannis take? Can I get
it's
some?
It's the Giannis take.
It's
Giannis just went out in the first round. The Panthers are making 3. Like, I think the Panthers are. It was Giannis. Giannis is the gold standard. This Panthers take is just getting worse and worse by every round they advance.
The Panthers take is worse because you also have to consider he was at least portraying a Panther fan. Who bails on the team
he is the
when
one,
then they win the cup?
He became a Rangers fan.
He has to be the only Panther fan that jumped off the ship in the last 3 years.
He wasn't
like,
a Giannis fan.
Just pictured the Panther fan the last 3 years being like, I'm out on this.
Do you know how hard it is to be virtue signaling as Zaslow when you are saying that Paul Maurice is the murderer of fun and you fired him
twice,
and he can lecture Whittingham about how wrong he is?
I kicked him out of my city,
and not be wrong, because Whittingham, this part you are the most wrong on. You bailed on this team at the worst possible time after following them your entire life.
If you have courage of your conviction, you believe things even when things go against you. And I still maintain the courage of my conviction. It's as though you should still believe that Paul Maurice is the murderer of fun, because he is. He inarguably is. That style of hockey, I don't know how you guys watch it every night. I would be clawing my eyes out watching teams be unable to even shoot the puck, never mind score goals.
These words coming out of your mouth.
You call soccer for a living.
These words coming out of your mouth right now are a vomit.
There were 75 shots in that game. It was just one team taking
in the first
them all.
2 periods.
You can't say last night's game didn't have enough shots for you.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I must say my opinion is not very informed in this respect. I get like a score update. Can I tell you guys in a moment of actual revelation of how this team makes me feel? I check the score like once an hour, mostly for live betting opportunities. I'm kind of hoping that when I log on to my app that I see the Florida Panthers down. This year, I've decided I'm making money on my misery. So every time I see the Florida Panthers down, I race to live bet them because they seem to come back from deficits very often.
See, you're not watching because that was the narrative like 3 seasons ago. The comebacks thing. I don't even think they really did that this year.
Like in the first round, I made a lot of money in that Tampa series, live betting them when they were down a goal or down 2 goals. So it didn't really work in this Toronto series. They seem to have a lead more often. But I check it like once an hour. And honestly, I had a moment last night before I went to bed when I saw that it was 5-1 to the Panthers at that point. Obviously, they went on to win 6-1. That I was like, I just want this to be over. I don't, because Cody had texted me at 0-0, like, hey, can you come on the show tomorrow? And I was like, I would rather I come on if Toronto wins, but I don't want to do this. Logging on to the Zoom this morning was a suffering. I want this to be over. Carolina, please. I'm wearing a Hurricane shirt because I'm so desperate for Carolina to get this done. Please.
He's the worst Panther fan. He is
the
worst national and international Panther fan there's ever been.
No. He's not a Panther fan.
Not a Panther fan.
He's a Rangers fan. And not only is he a Rangers fan,
I'll be back.
He's a Knicks
Listen,
fan.
guys, once we all get over this collective struggle that we're going through as Panthers fans, when we all realize, we all wake up a morning and go, what were we doing with this Matthew Tkachuk thing and with this Paul Maurice thing? Let's like go back to playing real hockey again. I'll be back. But until then, I'm out.
You're not welcome. Not only did you become a Rangers fan, the Panthers beat the Rangers in the conference final last season.
Tell them.
It's bad for you, Chris. You're not welcome.
And blew up your blueprint, too.
They took something from them, too.
Yes. Something was taken from you, and you sound hurt. I should say that Chris Whittingham should be doing this interview from a bathtub, but he's a coward and also someone who does not pay his debts. He is somebody. So
listen, I did a show. I did one of these guest appearances last year from my shower. I don't know how I have not paid this obligation to you.
It's a bathtub. Also, the Leafs.
I don't have a bathtub.
Okay, well, we need to. It's not a punishment, grid of death. You decide how you're going to do it. It's a bathtub.
Right,
like
go
you
find
got
one.
to go to the local Home Depot and like call you from the Zoom from one of their bathtubs on display.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing is enough for you guys.
What? Just pay your debt.
All right.
Look,
I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna go to the office today and be like, "Hey, is any of you guys have an apartment with a bathtub? I need to do a guest sit on the Le Batard Show."
Well, that's what you do.
Oh, you have nothing to do with your own success. We rocketed you to fame, and so you owe us this debt of gratitude by doing a show from a bathtub. It was supposed to be not one segment enclosed with no water. Like you said, like you did it the worst way. Like you did it the way you're accusing the Panthers of playing playoff hockey. Give the people entertainment.
All right, I'll be shirtless next time. I'll be in a bathtub.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
The Leafs held the trio of Barkov, Reinhart, and Tkachuk to just 4 goals in the series and still lost historically. Historically is what I meant to say.
Unfathomably, and that is actually kind of the thing that's most annoying about the Florida Panthers.
How deep they are.
I check the box score and I go, who are these people? Who are these people that are scoring goals? I legitimately learned of a name last night. Something with an F and a J in it. No, sorry. Gadjovic? Who is that person?
Jonah Gadjovic.
Who is that?
No
Where
idea.
Did he come
He's
from?
a wrinkle that Maurice threw in.
Does he play?
He's a fourth liner who Maurice brought in game 3.
I'll tell you who he is.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
I'll tell you who Gadjovic is. Yeah. He's the guy who had twice as many goals this series, Austin Matthews.
Yep. Winner.
This is annoying.
I don't understand it. I legitimately don't understand. Also, how are you guys feeling about the Brad Marchand experience?
All right, so hold on a second. Mike Ryan won't come into work today because of his shame. I want to get, by the way, at some point today to the basketball because the NBA is officially back.
And back in a big way, Dano.
And we're enjoying hockey a little bit excessively this morning because the champs felt good last night. But is this take about the Detroit Lions by me worse than either one of Whittingham's takes? I will tell you that the team that I am talking about, the Detroit Lions, went 0-16 to become the first winless team, I believe, in the history of the NFL.
The Lions are going to be very good this year. The Detroit Lions are going to be very good this year. I own that comment.
Sure.
Calvin Johnson is going to be really good this year. You know what you've seen so far from Ted Ginn? You've seen all of a sudden, you've seen Ted Ginn's second year. You're like, oh, well, look at that. Look, he's figured some things out. He looks a lot better than he looked last year. Calvin Johnson is a lot better than Ted Ginn.
Sure is.
He's a lot better than Ted Ginn, and he's a lot better this year, and he was a lot better last year, and he will be a lot better every year that they're healthy in the league at the same time.
Could be the best.
And I like Ted Ginn.
Could be the best tandem in the league, Dan. Sir, if Johnson's going to be
Williams
that good,
is amazing.
he's a freak.
Roy Williams
He's crazy.
is amazing.
Yeah, he's really
and I
true.
just think the Lions are going to be really good this year.
In your
I
defense,
own that
Calvin
comment
Johnson
is the best part.
Yeah, but in defense,
He had
of
a good
Dan,
year, Stu.
Calvin Johnson was good.
1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. It was good.
I think we're overlooking the Roy Williams is amazing part.
I will tell you that earlier in
He was amazing at Texas, to be fair.
Yeah.
I thought that the Panther take was worse than the Giannis take, and I realized after examining it, it's because of the sort of film that I felt hearing David Sampson's aluminum voice in the middle of that just being extra annoying, and it tipped it over the edge for me. It made that take worse than the other one just because Sampson's voice was in it. That one's worse than both of those, isn't it?
Well, Roy Williams only played 5 games that year for Detroit before being shipped to Dallas. He had 17 catches for 230 yards. So not great.
Was he amazing in Dallas?
He had
19
catches in 10 games, less than 200 yards, so not
So is that Whittingham? Is my take?
The thing, though, Dan, in your defense, is that the lion's share of that take, no pun intended, is correct in that Calvin Johnson was incredible.
Yes.
The whole take was
Correct.
predicated upon Calvin Johnson being good, inexplicably compared to Ted Ginn in that context.
Yeah, but then
he certainly is much better than Ted Ginn.
Orlovsky,
Yeah, you nailed that, Dan.
Orlovsky ran out of the end zone in that season.
That was the problem.
I don't think that's your worst take of all time. You said at one point you'd rather face Roy Hibbert than Tim Duncan.
That is a good one.
Holy shit! What?
That's an all-timer. That Stugotz might have just ended the game. That is a thing that happened around here, and we don't have the sound of that. I had it scrubbed from the records.
In 2012, though, that was correct.
No.
Everyone was terrified of Roy Hibbert.
No, that was never correct.
No, it was. No, it was absolutely correct.
No, that was never correct. No one in the history of radio, other than Dan, sat here and sat down behind a microphone and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm scared of Roy Hibbert."
You don't remember what Roy Hibbert did to us then.
I
You
was
don't
huge.
remember.
I remember what Tim Duncan did to
You know
everybody.
about that verticality?
Yes, exactly. Leapings, denying everyone at the rim.
Tim Duncan.
I mean, for God's sake, the Heat started Dexter Pittman in a playoff game to try and combat Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
That's how desperate we were to solve the problem, only to realize that the problem has been solved for then and thereon because all we needed to do was go small. Small was the answer the whole time. And it was sitting in front of us. LeBron James at center was sitting in front of us the whole time, and somehow we didn't see it.
Whitty, the funny thing about that take, historically wrong though it is, because my Lions take was wrong because Kitna got hurt at the beginning of that season.
But you were right on Megatron.
Thank you. But this one is worse. But what Whittingham says, I will tell you what was the basis of that take. Because not only was it wrong, Stephen A. came on and I was saying to him, who in the world would you take over Hibbert against LeBron and the Heat? And he's like, Tim Duncan. And I laughed at him because at the point that we were living, those tree limbs of Roy Hibbert were making. I'll tell you why it is that this happened to me. I was watching LeBron in the gym practicing sky hooks because he couldn't do anything against, like he was trying. And I'm like, wait a minute.
it was the floater.
No, it was floater as well, but it was also sky hooks because Hibbert was doing this thing where he's a giant oak tree and he's just running straight at you, and they hadn't figured out yet you got to get Gobert off the court.
You know about that verticality?
Dante Culpepper started 5 games for that Lions team.
I just saw that too. I am shocked by that.
How could they not win once? God.
More interceptions and touchdowns for Dante. I mean, you would think that the formula of Dante Culpepper throwing deep to Calvin Johnson was unassailable in 2008.
Oh, in
and
Madden,
somehow
it was
work.
unstoppable, Whitty. You could play as that 0-16 Lions and beat anybody because you just have
For sure.
Culpepper throwing bombs to Megatron. It was incredible.
Let me put up against the Hall of Famer. You guys decide who wins worst of the takes.
Go ahead, Andy Reid. I dare you to go 14-2 and allow Alex Smith to leave Arrowhead Stadium to leave Kansas City. Go ahead, I dare you. Because of Patrick Mahomes. Because you think you could turn Patrick Mahomes into something that Alex Smith is not. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. The audacity, first off, to do this to Alex Smith. who's been very good and loyal to Andy Reid and won him a lot of football games, to dangle Patrick Mahomes out there because Andy Reid thinks he's some sort of quarterback whisperer, which he is not, by the way. He is not, because if he was, Alex Smith would be better than he's been the last few years. So I dare.
That's a record for contradiction.
It's on Andy Reid.
That is
the only reason Alex Smith is not better is Andy Reid.
That sets a world record for Stugotz not paying attention to any of the things he said the sentence before.
I think we have a new leader in the clubhouse.
You fire Paul Maurice.
It's between that take and Whitty with the Panthers. Those are the two fighting it out for the championship.
Do I have an OLI here when I remember what Stugotz's famous take was about Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley failing Dwayne Wade, and then months later LeBron and Bosch are here. And Stugotz, I believe, was.
But at the time, he was failing Dwayne Wade.
At the time, Hibbert wasn't a scarecrow.
And also another one that I think stands the test of time for Stugotz, because I think that Dwayne Wade and his place in NBA history is underrated because of the period between 2006 and 2010 when the Heat didn't do anything. Those are Dwayne Wade's best years, and I actually don't think he gets nearly enough credit for how good he was. As kind of the better of the players between LeBron and Dwayne Wade in 2011, he had a 5-year period where, honestly, Dwayne Wade should be considered at a much higher standing than I think he is now. I think it's because he wasn't winning at the best points of his career. I give Stugotz a fair amount of credit there.
I don't understand your condescending smugness when you're so very wrong in such a spectacular way while hiding beneath your courageous convictions.
Because I believe I actually am criticized for not liking Dwayne Wade enough. I think that in that period, and obviously his knees sort of failed him from there, but 2006 to 2011, after they win the championship, Dwayne Wade should have been like right up there with Kobe. He should have been right up there with LeBron, and he wasn't. And I think that is largely the responsibility of the Miami Heat organization for not putting more around him, and then they did. And then they did, and then his body failed him.
Roy, I'm throwing a lot at you right now because I asked you for that Wade sound, but in the interim...
That Command F is working. That Command F is working right now.
Okay.
He's searching Wade. He's searching Dwayne. He is searching failed the city. There is a lot of searching going on that computer.
He's right. They're doing all that right now.
Yes.
They are.
He's familiar with the Command F.
But Roy, you have found the sound, and it can be played, though, because now we have the added problem of music being something that if it's playing is problematic, but you found sound that we can play. All right, let's hear. This again is, I believe, minutes before Chris Bosh and LeBron and Wade were coming up on stage. It might have been the day of, the morning of, before they came up on stage to a fireworks show. Here is Stugotz ripping Dwayne Wade, Pat Riley, everybody.
Has Pat Riley failed Dwayne Wade? Seriously. Has Riley and the organization, because Dan, all these other teams, all the other contenders went out and made moves, and the Heat haven't done a single thing. What have they done for Dwayne Wade? They got him Jermaine O'Neal, a broken Jermaine O'Neal. He's going to leave here, and he should leave here.
They got him Shaq.
Yeah.
And a championship.
Since then. Let's sell him on this notion of all these guys we're going to get next year. None of these guys want to come here. None of them. He's failed, Dwayne Wade. Failed the fans. Failed the city.
That's a good take.
None of them wanted to come here. Then they all came here discounted.
Everyone, all
then
of
they all
them.
came discounted. That afternoon, they came discounted. So which is the worst of the takes?
Huh.
Is it still Mahomes?
Mahomes is pretty bad. Best quarterback ever.
The greatest quarterback of all time.
And he's
Alex
halfway
Smith.
through his career.
You dared Andy Reid to get rid of Alex Smith.
Is there a
Roy
better
Hibbert.
Is there a better trade in sports though the last 5 years than the Panthers Kachuk trade? Like
Well,
ripping that one.
He has 0 goals in this series.
Wait, you're not watching. He's
They've
still
made
he's
like
still
10
affecting
better
the game.
trades since.
He's still affecting the game.
Maybe
Like,
Trevor Rogers for Kyle Stowers and
the
Connor
game.
All right,
with his
listen to
zero,
me.
with his
A
0
box
plus
score.
minus.
The whole thing.
you
Get
can't
outta
box
here.
score watch hockey, Whitty.
All right, the whole thing has gotten away from me.
0 goals.
Hold up.
This is insulting. This is insulting. The fancy lad comes back with his parasol, and he's been broadcasting the big games, and he thinks he could fake his way through a broadcast by just looking at a box score and doing plus minus. I got enough knowledge here, even though I'm a Ranger fan who hasn't watched much hockey this year, and I'm a take master.
He just said, "How's the Marchand thing working out?" He's like arguably the second or third best player in the entire playoffs for us so far.
And Paul Maurice said he's a wonderful human being.
He is.
How's the Marchand thing working
Impossible
out
to
is
believe.
literally the worst thing you could say.
That's just him getting text from Mike Ryan, right? That's all that is.
I'm more sort of asking, or like, do you like him? Have you turned, and are you supporting him?
Only
as a fan?
Mike Ryan is struggling with that. If I have a rule
Mike
in life,
Ryan has a lot of valid points. On that
I have
one,
a rule.
by the way.
I have a rule in
Mike
life.
Ryan has a lot of valid points.
I have a rule
you
in
all
life.
should listen to him.
When it comes to the Panthers, I have a rule in life. If Barkov's cool with it, I'm cool with it.
So Jeremy's taunting me, saying you said Tom Brady was washed at 35 and he had another Hall of Fame career.
That's another good
That's
one.
another really good one.
But
That's a great one.
I didn't say he was washed. I said his deep ball. I'm not going to do this again.
You
with
said he
guys.
was done. I mean,
I did not say he was washed. I'm not going to do it again.
Okay.
But I did say that I draft Odin over Durant.
you did say that.
God.
Yes, Durant was too skinny.
That's
Not
because of
strong
Roy
enough.
Hibbert, right?
He was
It's all
only,
the same
he was
thing.
only
That was
he
printed in
couldn't
the
bench
Miami Herald,
185.
right?
He couldn't bench 185.
You know about that verticality?
Let me get the sound as a palate cleanser here before we get to the game show of just even Whittingham, okay, who knows how to be an asshole and embraces his inner asshole. Even Whittingham winced at hearing himself say this with smugness
Listen, pal.
to Paul Maurice.
Listen, pal.
Dan, it's a key. It's a key term to make you sound like an expert. I mean,
He was so smug at the beginning of that season. I will never forget.
He was smug with
No,
listen,
he was so
Really?
smug. When they start, I remember that first broadcast back in the old Fox Sports Florida days, I think, where they come on the air and they're like, hey, guys, here's what's going to change this year. We're going to play playoff-style hockey all season long. And God almighty, what was the name of that third-string goalkeeper that, like, made ridiculous saves at the end of that first season?
Spencer Knight?
No. Alex Lyon? Was it Alex Lyon?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, everyone was bagging on Sergei Bobrovsky. As a matter of fact, speaking of bad takes, we did a month after the Panthers got eliminated from the playoffs on Spencer Knight is better than Sergei Bobrovsky.
but
We did a month on that.
we did it during the playoffs.
No, hold on.
Yes.
We
Hold
did
on.
a month on
Hold
that.
on.
We did.
And somehow I have the wrong take on the Panthers.
Whitty, this is
What do you mean somehow you have the wrong take? The Stanley Cup champions.
Zaslow, you've been quiet long enough. Let him have it. Like you're.
He fired
I
the
mean,
coach.
come on. Somehow he got it.
No one here is
No,
qualified.
but this is but Zaslow. Whittingham is.
Murderer of fun over there.
Okay, but I can admit that I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong, and I'm thrilled that I was dead wrong. You're sitting there saying how the Panthers got it wrong, and they're the champions.
And you don't like Whittingham's general smugness about how this whole radio thing is beneath
I
him.
could do without the smugness.
Listen, pal.
0-0.
Listen, pal.
How many listen pals has Zaslow done in his career? He's the king of listen pals.
Listen, pal.
Oh boy, I love it.
Listen, pal.
There's
Listen,
no one
pal.
qualified.
You really should be ashamed to show your face in public, Whittingham. Honestly, hey, you come out here, you're just giving takes, and you're admitting to being unmasked as box score Charlie.
I mean, you're sitting next to someone who's made a career of it, so.
Anyone here? Tony tried to get in there with a Spencer
Well,
Knight.
thank you, Chris,
I'd
for
like to say
mentioning
about
that.
Zaslow.
Chris, because poor Tony, I have felt for him because I've been trying to get to this game show for 35 minutes and we can't shut Whittingham up, and he can't be wrong even though he's wrong.
I want to participate in the game show. What's the game show?
Okay, this is the fun we used to have before you got here and ruined it by doing all the things that you do that range from going from Panthers fan to Rangers fan to I'm not wrong for doing that to they're the champions. Like, it's asinine. Like,
Let's go Canes.
Okay, you can be as stubborn as you want, but Tony in the middle of that, who has had to endure this 3 straight summers, was so excited when you asked who was that third string goalie to yell Knight into the air.
Ooh, I know a goalie name.
He couldn't have gotten the first name, but he got in a very small window with the knowledge of there's a Knight to be thrown into the
But
mix
it's also the Star Spangled Banner, right? Where they yelled Knight. That was the joke from last week. It was like Knight.
It was the wrong Knight, though.
Oh, he was there somewhere, right?
So, are you ready to play this game? Who's going to lead it? Zaslow, do we finally have the game show music? Thank you, from the maniacally grinning Roy Bellamy.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
The first edition, but okay, let's go.
Another edition. Yes, I'm Jonathan Zaslow. I'm your host. Everybody knows I am a game show host. And the way today's game works is we test Tony's knowledge of puck. Is everybody ready?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. First up, anyone want to take the over-under of 1.5 correct answers out of 5 for Tony? Any action?
Under.
I believe in my friend. He's
Wow.
getting the over.
Thank you.
Going over 2. I'm going over.
Even money on both sides. Over, under 1.5 correct answers. First up, Tony, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Give us the definition for icing.
Definitions, huh? I mean,
No, but that,
Icing. Okay, so they take the puck, right? And they shoot it to the other side, but there's nobody on the other side. And it crosses the blue line, and then the goalie has to go and get it, right? And then they're like, hey, there's nobody over there. You can't do that.
You know what? Wait a minute. I think that question was too generic. I think.
No, but what makes it icing, though?
That there's nobody over there. You can't just do that.
That's not what makes it icing.
There
Honestly,
were a lot of
that's a good
answers
point. I
wrong
think
there.
He's got that one. That's
Nope,
the correct
he had the
answer for me,
colors
Clive.
of the
I feel the same
lines
way.
incorrect, and he said that the goalie went and got the puck. That is incorrect, Tony.
We can't get him a half correct?
Incorrect,
He's also
Tony.
the judge. You got to shut up. He's a game show host.
So
and the
what
judge.
makes it icing? Honestly, I don't know.
The puck has to be shot from the other side of the center line.
Okay.
It crosses the goal line.
Okay.
And then the other team touches up before you do. Icing.
Has to pass 3 lines.
Oh,
essentially.
gotcha. Okay. So pass the blue line at some point.
That's one of the lines that goes
Okay.
by.
It's an unfair question.
Let's not ask for definitions anymore.
thank you.
Next up, Tony,
February.
are you ready?
They don't call me Tony Puck for nothing, baby. Let's go.
They don't.
What
It should be
is
Puck Tony.
what
Been a lot of
is
those.
a line change?
Oh, this is when guys jump off the bench and then other guys switch, right? So they switch the lines. They go from one guy to another guy. Yeah, you're out of here. But then if you got too many guys, you got a penalty for that.
That is correct, Tony.
Honestly, extra credit as well for getting the
Nice.
You knew the penalty, too?
We have now entered the portion of Tony Knows Hockey where audience members can ask Tony a question.
Tony.
Do we have any volunteers?
I have one. What is the area that the goalie stands in called? The blue area that the goalie stands in.
The blue area that the goalie stands in.
This is a good one.
The
You do know this.
It's
don't
the
you?
net.
When you, no.
Oh, no.
No.
That would be
Stand in the nets.
the crease.
You knew that. You knew that.
The crease, of course. Between the pipes.
Imagine some
Would that
guy
have been
in
acceptable
Toronto
too, between the
listening
pipes
to
or no?
That's what's beating you, Toronto. Toronto, Dade County
There's
is
a guy in
Dade County is full of that. They're going to wander over about game 2 of the final round, and then they'll be in the streets with pots and pans. That's what's
Toronto
ever heard of La Carreta?
in the world. Losers! They care about this more than anything in the world. Last night, Brad Marchand was making the argument that Toronto cares about it too much.
Nobody
to
understands.
Win. Too much to win.
Nobody understands how insulting it is that in the swamp kicked your ass 6-1 last night.
He stands in the nets.
That's it.
He does.
Again,
Between
just to recap the last answer, Tony believes the goalie, the painted area in front of the goalie is the net.
That kind of thing.
Tony, when both teams are even strength, how many players does each team have on the ice?
Even strength
Yes.
means no penalties. Nobody's in the penalty box.
Well, that is what even strength means.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
not one of the questions.
So you've got the goalie,
That's one.
okay, on both sides, obviously.
Well, I'm just doing one team.
Just
Okay,
one
We're-
team.
we're not asking you to
Yeah.
name
The
the
goalie-
positions.
Okay,
Oh,
the
I can't.
goalie, that's one player.
And 5 on the ice. So 6 total.
That's correct.
He hit the over. He hit the over. Wow.
If you're just tuning in now, everybody welcome. This is another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
It's not another one.
First
It's
one we've
just the
done.
first
It's
one.
another edition.
I don't
We'll
know
do
if
it next week.
I don't know if there'll be a second one.
There's for sure more terms that I don't know. So there's always there.
Certainly we can cover hockey better than this. It's a championship team.
The next question.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I apologize, Stugotz. That was rude of the game show host.
That's okay. Go ahead.
You're referring to yourself as game show host third person?
Everybody knows I am a game show host. My name is Jonathan Saslow, and this is another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
Tony, are you ready for your next question?
Yes.
What is a chirp? Let me repeat. What is a chirp?
Chirp is when you're skating by a guy you don't like. You give him a little chicken wing on the side.
I like that.
That's
technically
judges. No, that's fakery. It's not
a chirp. Talking shit to
chirp
guys.
Is verbal. A chirp is verbal.
It's verbal.
Yeah,
it's not a chicken wing.
Hit him with a chicken wing. Say, yeah, you suck.
We have a judge. I mean,
we do have a judge and game show host.
Yes.
I am also a judge in addition to a game show host, and therefore my ruling.
And a doctor. He's also a doctor.
I am not a doctor. Also, my ruling is that is incorrect.
The chicken wing. You had it until you said
Whittingham.
With prejudice.
There it is. Thank you. An excellent, another edition. Another excellent
This
edition.
has been another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
All right. We're going to do basketball next because I can't alienate the audience anymore.
Why couldn't I have been on for that segment?
What would you have to say about basketball?
I'm a Knicks guy now.
Yeah.
Turn him off.
Mm-hmm.
Get him
I'm
out of here.
I'm a short Amtrak away from Madison Square Garden, and I got to tell you, I watched one video of Jon Stewart celebrating with various celebrities. For me, it's the fact that the celebrities care. The Lakers fans are there to be seen. I feel like the Knicks fans are actual fans that have been there through thick and thin, through suffering, through absolutely no success, and I actually believe their sincerity when they sit courtside. I have to be honest. I enjoyed watching that. That was a fun scene.
All right,
over the weekend,
Whittingham,
watching the Knicks
all right,
win that game.
Stay there so you could go full heel. Like, you're embarrassing.
I love it.
You are. You're like, you used to be a South Floridian. I don't know what you are now, other than un arrepentido. Like, that's it.
Wow.
I've proclaimed it. Tremendo arrepentido. Sin vergüenza.
Wow.
So welcome back, Billy, and I don't know where this particular tension is going to end up. Welcome back. And I also want to get to Mike Ryan. He does not agree with you on Hard Knocks, Chris. He doesn't.
Oh, trust me. We had a whole text exchange last night. I almost drove to his house to fight him.
Yeah, you guys have very wildly disparate opinions on the Oakland Raiders and Hard Knocks. But first, Billy, welcome back. How was your honeymoon?
It was good. Thank you for asking.
Oh, he's tightened up his game now that he's refreshed. Okay, things are
it's just so hot today, Dan. I don't know what's going on with the air, but luckily I have this little fan that I bought before a hurricane that I have plugged into my phone, so like it's keeping me nice and cool.
I'm so jealous.
You guys should get these. These things are awesome. Look at it, Dan. You see this thing? Look at this.
Can you please tell me about all the awkward things that happened to you? Did anything weird happen to you in Barbados? Like what kind of, just give me some awkward Billy on his honeymoon stuff. Is there anything that...
The non-awkward would be a much shorter story.
Yeah, I wonder how this is going to go. What's the best you got from your honeymoon? And then we'll move on to other things like Antonio trying to steal your job.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa!
Antonio, just go sit in his chair. We'll get back to it.
I'm back, baby.
I want to hear the whole story. I just don't understand why you can't even get the name right of Carnival and like
it's Crop Over. That's fine.
Why is it called a honeymoon?
It's a good question.
That is a good question. Put it on the poll, Antonio, now that you've replaced Billy in his chair. Do you know why they call it a honeymoon? Mike, do you have the sound? A very simple sound, a very simple question. Basically, I want you to hear Billy, who has a reputation for yammering and just not being able to get anything out, and he's rusty because he hasn't been paying attention to the internet for 10 days. So he came in here today and it was just a furnace blast of news, all of it weird, disorienting. The local hour has gone someplace else.
We showed him Antonio Brown's feet.
Yeah, like he's missed a lot. I'm actually scared when I disappear for my honeymoon. I'm going to come back and I feel like things are just going to be gone. There's the possibility like the shipping container room just floated off into the Atlantic Ocean.
We're still not out of hurricane season.
Yeah, I am going to fall it's very easy to fall very far behind, very fast when it comes to the amount of stimulation and news and sports stuff that you are getting. Billy was off the grid. He comes back. Everything's changed except his inability to say anything quickly. So
Where is White now?
Everything is different. Like you
That's the most efficient you've ever been.
Yes. Look at that. Did you learn something on your honeymoon? Okay, so lest you think he has cured his ills of not being efficient, please play for the audience. This is Billy Rusty returning from his honeymoon. Just him simply trying to say where he was.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's
for the love of
story.
God. All right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa!
You would have kept going. You would have given it 20 names if I didn't cut you off and kick you out. You would have given it 20 names. Actually, the roots of the word come from the 1700s and indigenous people.
I was upset you did that to Billy his first day back, but hearing it back, he absolutely deserved it.
Again, yes. I want you to hear again, just Mike, the last part of it, where he's simply trying to say, Billy is simply trying to tell us, this is a very simple transaction. Hey, Billy, where were you? What were you doing? He gets snagged and stuck on where were you?
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But Recently, I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for. How do I not get frustrated with that? Like, I missed it for 10 days, but I don't miss it anymore.
Those are important details.
I normally don't hear, but I heard it.
All right, start again then. And real quick, Mike, just the short version. Billy being asked, where were you, Billy, on your honeymoon? This is a simple question. It gets a simple response in most circumstances, unless you're talking to Billy.
So in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, Billy, we've established where you are and what it's called, kind of. Now, proceed.
All right, so this is how it works. Crop Over is like a couple months long, and Kadooment is like the grand finale, and it's like a carnival type thing, and you guys will see from time to time, every once in a while, Rihanna will go back to Barbados, and she'll be like parading in the streets, and it's like Brazilian carnival, basically. So we wanted to do that, which is not something that at all is something that I would probably ever be in my comfort zone, right? You would think me parading.
Well, it's a lack of repressions. It is free, liberated people being themselves. So of course that's the worst place in the world for you to be soaked in fear.
Oh, it gets worse. So to participate in this, you have to sign up with what are called bands, and they have a bunch of different bands that you sign up for. So we found a band, and then I get my costume. You have to pay to get costumes. So I'm going through the streets, and I'm shirtless, and I'm in pink shorts and a cowboy hat and all this fake jewelry that they have on, that it's like massive, like this pendant around my chest and like these arm cuffs. So I'm like going through the streets dressed not in all way that I'd ever be comfortable doing it. And I thought that, you know what, it's like a parade. It'll be like the Three Kings parade that they have in Dade County, and it'll be like a couple blocks, whatever, Thanksgiving Day parade. So when we're in the taxi to get there, I asked the guy, I go, how long is this parade? And he's like, oh, it's 9 to 10 miles. And I'm like, whoa. 9 to 10 miles, like that cannot be right. So I'm like feverishly looking through my phone. Like, I need to find the parade route. I need to know exactly where I'm going through Barbados. I need to know.
You're doing this with like bejeweled and all sorts of fake jewelry.
Oh yeah, dressed like a clown in the back of it. And don't get me started on Barbados taxis, because it doesn't cost $20 American to go everywhere. Okay, like I went like 10 blocks. $20 is way too much to go on a taxi 10 blocks. All right.
Once you're in the cab in their territory, they've got you, Bill. It doesn't matter. You're lucky it was only $20.
Put it on the poll. Once you're on the cab in their territory, do they have you?
It's a home game for them.
A bit steep for the amount of travel that we were, like 2 miles, $20 seems like a lot, but whatever. So I find out that it's actually a 10K, which is like 6 miles. But either way, I'm not prepared to be walking through the heat dressed like a clown for 6 miles. I haven't walked 6 miles in my life, I don't think. I don't know the last time I did it. And I wasn't wearing my Fitbit, so none of the steps counted. That's the only reason I wear my Fitbit, so my steps count. But if I don't wear my Fitbit, the steps don't count. So it was a total waste of time walking through here. And I was sunburned, obviously. There was lots of
the jewelry. From the jewelry,
oh, if I could show you the burn that
please
I had.
Please do. Like,
oh wow!
I had a giant circle here for a little bit. Yeah, there was a big circle here for a little bit. Yeah. Everyone was drinking alcohol, but I was drinking water. I thought I was gonna pass out and die.
This episode is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
I will try to do a better job of pacing myself during these hockey playoffs. You think we'd be better at it after a couple of years of practice. We are not. It was a lot of hockey, too much hockey. I understand your rage. Roy is still beaming. Zaslow has been smiling since 1-0 last night.
Yeah.
Since 1-0 last night, you can't get the smile off his face. And Tony's so involved, he gets excited to name a backup goalie from a couple of years ago.
Nice.
It has taken over South Florida. But the basketball, and I don't know if you guys had it going this particular way, because basketball can be pretty predictable this time of year, but now it's all of a sudden not, because 6-4 or 6-5. Like, that's not usually how all of that happens. Last year, Dallas is there when OKC was better all year. But you have the storyline that is the following, Stugotz. And I can't believe I'm saying any of this. You're either going to have a champion who's winning the championship for the first time as the league evolves past Steph and LeBron, or it'll be the Knicks. And those are good choices if you're trying to resell the league as like, oh, Tatum is out, but Anthony Edwards, would you like to be the guy? And also, how are we going to make it interesting if defense is what wins the championship? Because OKC, watching what they just did to the MVP was like watching a pack of dogs chase down an elephant. Like just how young people will ravenously eat even the MVP. One shot in the second half, want to go be with horse?
That's a terrible job by Jokic, is
No,
it not?
I mean, come
you
on.
can't get
Stugotz,
9 shots
Stugotz,
off in a
he's
Game
Stugotz.
7 best offensive
Stugotz,
player ever.
Stugotz.
Get out of here.
Okay, he's tired. And 4 years
Well,
of this.
so was Jordan. He had the
Okay,
flu.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. He took a couple years off as well. Took a couple of years off.
He had the flu.
Yeah, but he won a bunch of them and then came back with the flu. Yes, but again,
play baseball.
Jokic, wonderful. This is how, man. I don't think people totally understand how competitive these human beings are. Like, you're fighting the world for money. No one saw Jokic coming. Stugotz says he's a bum, get more than 9 shots. Or he just got eaten up by youth because that team plays defense better than anyone in the sport and also can score. And you just saw him get tired. Like, he was done. In the second half, he was done because
get in shape.
Durant quit Golden State. LeBron went to Cleveland. Like, after 4 years, it's hard. It's hell. The Celtics have been at this for 4 years, and Tatum just blew a wheel. Like, it's hard to keep this pace for 4 years because of how competitive the people are. But now you've got New York, and this is the part that's the great storyline. Are you kidding me? Lovable underdog, and it's going to be the Pacers who are hated? Because they're going to get in the way of the story? Because you can't dispute, you can't say that the Knicks aren't a lovable story, and this, Stugotz, is the best feeling you've had in 25 years, and now bandwagon Whitty is joining because he's not even a Floridian anymore. He's an asshole.
Let's be clear. The NBA needs the Knicks in the NBA Finals. A Pacer-Thunder final would be an absolute disaster for the NBA. So good luck to the Pacers with that. Here is my thoughts on the Knicks. It's amazing because, you know, they had a good team last year. Everyone New York fell in love with that team. Dante DiVincenzo, guys like Hartenstein, and now he's in Oklahoma City. And DiVincenzo, I have no idea where that guy is.
Where do you think he is, Stu? Where do you think he is?
Milwaukee, maybe?
No.
I mean,
they would love him in Milwaukee.
where is he? I have no idea.
You know where he is. Come on,
He's on the
Stugotz.
other side of
Think
the
about
bracket.
the guy you
Stu.
traded
He's
for.
still playing.
So here is, like, what an
He's with Julius Randle, by the
amazing
way.
job for Leon Rose to say, you know what? I know New York fell in love with this team, but this team is not good enough. We are not good enough. And he goes out and makes a couple of big-time trades, makes a big-time signing, gets rid of the guys that New York fell in love with, and he was right. And they are better. And now they're taking on the Pacers. And I am telling, this is a message to Reggie Miller.
Uh-oh.
Stay out of the
Whoa.
series.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You might not know where the foreigner is playing, DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's
from
from
Ohio,
he's from
Delaware
Delaware
or
or somewhere,
somewhere.
but I called him the foreigner because I thought he was Italian.
Right.
You may not know where he is playing right now, but if you're going to call out
where he
Reggie,
is.
if you're going to call out Reggie Miller, look at a camera and do it from the old sparks of. Look, last week, can you get me the sound? Stugotz wasn't here, but we've created a couple of new call letters here to celebrate New York. He celebrated this with us last year when we did this. When we did WFAT. And now Boston is gone. We haven't enjoyed that nearly enough today. Boston is gone, but last week we created these call letters.
WDEI.
Like that.
Tony, your speed is still off on that.
I have to wait for the actual thing to happen.
Let's try
I
it
can't do it
again.
too
Let's
early.
do WDEI again to celebrate Boston radio real quick.
WDEI.
But if you're going to talk to Reggie Miller, look at that camera and give
Was
him
that from Batman and Robin?
It sounds like it, right? It sounds it's public domain. Yes, that is that's what it's. It's not the highest end of entertainment.
WDEI.
Our focus was on the accent. Maybe we could have focused more on imaging.
I'm pretty entertained.
Well, that's the standard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think whoever made that sounder is probably really smart and handsome.
Okay. All right. Just hold on a second. Just.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
Whittingham, the Knicks are lovable. They are.
4 guys on the ice now.
It hurts. It hurts me. It hurts me to say it, but I have.
You like them, huh?
I mean, it's hard not to, right? Like, I mean, they've got the smallest player on the court, and man, it.
But he's got the biggest balls.
Thank you.
I don't know. Halliburton's got some big balls too.
Okay, a ball off.
Huge balls off.
Okay, we're gonna do a huge balls off. Jalen Brunson's the smallest player on the court, and New York gets to feel like an underdog. And it's all crazy. It's all upside down. New York never gets to feel like an underdog. And as I was saying last week, nothing matters in that city like this sport. Like when you say MSG and playing in the heart of the city, not even the Rangers do what the Knicks do.
Everyone says that, and I still have a hard time. Like it's
No.
bigger than the Yankees.
No, Zaz.
Bigger than the Yankees.
Zaz, it is this simple. In New York, with every other sport, you have a choice. With baseball, Yankees, Mets. With hockey, Islanders, Rangers. With football, you have the Jets and the Giants. We have one basketball team.
What?
That's it. It's the only.
They have the Nets. They have the Nets.
That team played in New Jersey, and no one cares about the Brooklyn Nets. Nobody. Woody lives in New York. He's a Knicks fan. He'll tell you. Nobody cares about the Nets. Nobody.
No,
so this is
you're
the one
100%
team we
right.
all get behind. That's it.
And there is that level of caring and that level of like, we've suffered for this. We have gone through 25 years of having awful basketball teams, awful executives, awful players. And I was on a flight during Game 6. Every single person, to a man, had on the JetBlue screens the Knicks game on. And there was applause when big threes were made. Yep. There was an applause when the clocks hit 000. That
happens on all flights. I've been on flights coming back to Florida.
I guarantee you, if there was a JetBlue flight from wherever to Fort Lauderdale last night, there were not people that were watching the Panthers game and applauding when goals went in.
I've been on flights watching Panthers games.
I'm not
with other
having
people.
that. I'm not having that. The
You're
Knicks
not
have
having
a
that.
level.
You're pining about your New York Knicks. What do you mean you're not having that? This is a vomit, the words coming out of your mouth. We, my, New York Knicks, us. Get out of here, New York Knicks. What are you talking about?
I was on the flight. I was there with the fans. I was there in New York City on a day after the Knicks won a big playoff game, and you feel it's something completely different. It's all anyone talks about in my work office, on the trains. The New York Knicks are completely dominating this city, and there's a real feeling they can go on and win this thing, isn't it? And I think like that is the biggest feeling change.
They cannot beat OKC. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
Can OKC
But,
beat
I mean,
Minnesota? I mean,
Okay, but Dan, would you have
Thank
said
you.
before the series? I mean, the Knicks were plus 500 underdogs going into the series against Boston and pretty soundly dominated them before Tatum got injured. They were about to go 3-1 up
They didn't
before
dominate.
Tatum
They
got
were
injured.
down for like 90% of the minutes. That's not dominating at all.
down
At
20,
all.
down 20 in game 1 and
Opposite
2.
of dominating.
They were 3-1. They were about to go 3-1 up.
Boston was up 20 points in 2 of the games.
But they lost the game.
That's not
But they lost,
dominating.
That's not dominating.
Well, the second
Okay,
half
but
they
you're
dominated.
up 3-1 in this series. You're feeling good.
Scoreboard Whitty. He's changed.
Whitty,
He's right.
all right, Whitty, get out of here.
Boston's gone. New York's still playing.
Is anybody else worried for New York? The fact that there are 2 bigger celebrations that they could have than what they did when they won that last series.
I mean, not 2, 8.
The fleet.
They still have, in theory, 8 more games to win.
The fact that the streets were flooded like that. The one guy sitting up on that screen, is that guy okay? Did you see that guy?
All right, I need Whitty to get out of here now. Okay, he is.
Get out of here, Whitty.
He has been insufferable. Zaslow, you didn't go after him strongly enough. He's offensive. Yes, Zaslow is disgusted. Zaslow, you came up with Whittingham. You're a South Floridian at your core. Look at Whittingham. Look at smug.
I don't even want to
Whittingham.
look at him. It's a vomit.
Yeah, I mean he's offensive.
How could you not feel good for these guys, man? They don't care.
Like, how do I not feel good about them? Because they're the team that tormented me throughout my teenage years. Why do I have to feel good about the New York Knicks?
That is the difference between Zaslow and I. He's that tiny bit older than me where I actually kind of, as a Heat fan, felt a bit of pity for them because I never experienced, like, I was 7 when the Allen Houston shot went in. So I actually, for the most part, I have no antipathy towards the Knicks because they've never done anything to me.
I was 18 and it was one of the worst nights of my life. And I'm supposed to sit here and hear you talk about us, what we're going to do when you grew up here and you were a Heat fan.
Get out of here.
You make me sick.
You have no sense of history. None. You have no sense of history. You have no sense of grace. You have no sense of decorum or decency. You're a foul fraud.
That's a bit strong.
Whitty, thank you.
I gave an hour and 5 minutes to this program this morning.
Thank you for being on with us, Whitty. Good talking. Good talking to you. Nice seeing you. Reggie Miller, Stugotz, here's your chance, all right?
Stay out of the series.
Hold on a second. I'm going to set you up. Hold on a second, all right?
I was going.
I know. Hold on. I want to set the platform for you. The Knicks before Jalen Brunson, 8 playoff wins in 20 years. The Knicks with Jalen Brunson, 21 playoff wins in 3 years. What is happening now is escalating your parents and grandparents to remember when the Pacers and the Knicks played once upon a time, and it was tremendous. Larry Johnson's shot still echoes across 25 years of failure because there hasn't been shit since then. And so Larry Johnson made a 4-point play one time against Indiana, and Reggie Miller got all his fame off the Knicks, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Reggie Miller said after calling last year's Knicks-Pacers series. The longtime Pacer will call every game of this year's series for TNT.
Oh, that's a terrible job. Seriously. That is a
He's
bad job by
on the
TNT.
number one
I
team.
don't care.
Why?
Take him off of it.
I mean, Stu, to be honest, though, he's been very pro-Knicks. It's almost like a little crush on the Knicks as he's been calling these games. So there may be a little bit of like
Quote, this is why I can't stand the Knicks. They're front runners. They think they're God's gift to basketball. End quote. That's Reggie Miller, who will be broadcasting the games.
Yep. Stay out of my series. I mean, I'm serious. You had your moment. You had your 9 seconds. You had your Hall of Fame moment. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, because of those moments, those final seconds against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. You were a decent player. You were not a great player. You're not a Hall of Fame player. You were in the series when you were playing. But as a broadcaster, do me a favor. Do not insert yourself into this series like you're some sort of factor into this series. You're not. Call the game. Do it objectively. I don't want to hear about Reggie Miller and what he did when he was playing for the Pacers back in the 90s. I don't want to see the 3 threes shown by TNT every 15 seconds.
You will see
I
them.
need Reggie Miller and Rick Smith, for that matter, to stay away from this Knicks-Pacers series, okay? It is not about Reggie. It's not about the 90s. It's not about those teams. It is about this Knicks team against this Pacer team. And by the way, Reggie Miller, please, because what you're doing is stealing Halliburton's thunder. When you keep inserting it, Halliburton is a better player than Reggie Miller will ever be.
Whoa.
Come on. He is.
All right.
Wait, he's a better player. Reggie Miller was a good player. He was not a great player.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Because of those 9 seconds. He had a Hall of Fame moment, Dan. I mean, he is in the Hall of 9 seconds. That's what he is.
Put it on the poll. Should Reggie Miller be in the Hall of 9 seconds?
Yes.
So should you.
I think.
Thank you.
Patino as well. I think that I have
giving me 9, huh?
Sound
I think
here.
my wife would put me in it.
9. It's like 3 times for me.
Good one.
Like a rabbit. He has sex.
Bounce back is great, though.
Like a little rabbit. And I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get the sting out of my eyes after a thrusting Chris threw himself in the middle of the conversation.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't my fault. I wasn't expecting it, and it disoriented me because it was pink and enthused.
Oh.
Also, how she would describe me.
Reggie Miller
Enough.
is a Hall of Famer, but Zaslow, do you know the story of the spot that Boog put me in with Reggie Miller?
I already told you. I remember everything from 790. Great memory.
What I remember is Boog squeezing my knee.
Yeah.
Squeezing my knee before asking Reggie Miller, after I had said for months that he didn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
In front of Reggie Miller, he asked me whether I thought Reggie Miller was a Hall of Famer. We'd done like 2 months worth of shows on it.
This was outside Versace, maybe?
It was outside
It
the
was
Versace
outside the pregame
mansion,
show.
yes.
Yeah, we were there early. Eli was there.
Eli Manning showed up too early. Matt Leinart drank too much and was in the hot tub. too early as well.
When wasn't he?
Boog wrote down on a piece of paper as Reggie was approaching the table, "Watch what I do to Dan."
Yeah. Oh, Roy, you don't remember? Yeah, no, it was, and he squeezed my knee. And Boog's got, people don't understand this. Like, one of the things about Kawhi Leonard that's so amazing is his hands are stronger than anybody else's in the NBA. Boog's hands.
Yeah. Mitts.
I mean, it's not
surprising,
but it's catcher's mitts. And if he squeezes your knee is going to be much smaller than his hand. Okay, because it's like being squeezed by a frying pan, like just very hard. And so he squeezes my knee as he does this to me. As Reggie Miller's I'm sitting down, and Reggie Miller's got his hand on my shoulder, and this is what happened.
Are you a Hall of Famer?
No, there's too many other guys that are more deserving than I.
Le Batard, you think he's going in?
No.
I think you are.
Yeah, you're going in.
Yeah.
Classic Stugotz.
I think you are.
So not only did Boog put you in that spot, but he came over the top, off the top rope with, I believe
and then Stugotz was helpful.
Of course.
Just alone with a syllable.
Le Batard, you think he's going in?
No.
You got to lie there, Dan. Just lie to him.
After months of being on the radio.
It's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I'm afraid to say it now.
No.
First ballot.
Yeah, that would be who I am. That's who you know me to be.
No.
You're so meek.
Because my friend knew that's how I was going to answer.
And his hand was on your knee.
And he was squeezing my knee. And
no.
Yeah, it was a death grip. But you've got Minnesota, Stugotz, playing OKC. And generally speaking, when a team wins 68 games and has that point differential, they are not going to be beaten by anybody. Basketball people who are watching are saying if they're top 5 offense, top 5 defense, they're going to beat you any one of the ways. No one else can do that. Mm-hmm. And they just did to Jokic what no one can do to Jokic. And if he's not quitting, at the end, you understand how the wheels are just falling off of whatever that was in Denver for 3 years that has been what Boston has been competing with for 3 years. And the pieces start falling apart, Stugotz, because look at when you talk about the cost of some of this stuff, Kevin Durant and his Achilles, when 3 or 4 years of this competitive a basketball, Aaron Gordon is saying today, or yesterday, I would really, really appreciate it if there were a couple of days in between games in the playoffs instead of every other day. The product of the game would be a lot better. You'll see a higher level of basketball, probably less blowouts. Aaron Gordon he's important to them, and he's playing injured, and the bodies aren't going to hold up after 3 or 4 years of this. And you can rip Jokic, but good God, that defense, Stugotz, like it's young and hungry and has had the heartbreak of last year because that team really wanted it last year and wasn't ready. It was beaten by a Minnesota team that is immature and doesn't win as a favorite, does not win as a favorite. OKC is the favorite now. They won 68 games. They're a lot better than everyone else. If they don't have injuries, that team should skate to the title. But random, threes, young team, Brunson, you can talk yourself into some fun maybes because it's less predictable than it's been. And it's why the NBA is back. Because this has been really predictable for a long time, and it should be fun to see the transition of power. Boston getting knocked out. I know it's not great because you like the history of Boston, and Boston's a big market, but opening
but you get the Knicks.
Yeah, but opening it up to New York, this is how you scrub. We've been talking about just Steph and LeBron for 15 years, Stugotz. We need some new stories.
And if you look across all of those storylines and all those narratives with the 4 teams remaining, you've got Shea, who's most likely more than not going to be the MVP. You've got Anthony Edwards on the other side, Julius Randle, who's having an incredible season. You look at the East, Jalen Brunson, the Knicks. You look at Halliburton and the Pacers. These are teams that you can set up for the next 5-7 years if they all stay together, where it's oh, wow, we don't know who's going to be here, and we just have a replication of what happened in the early 2000s and early teens.
The Knicks and the Timberwolves would be fun, right? Those are two teams who went deep into the playoffs last year and still said, hey, our teams are not good enough, and they improved their rosters, and they traded with each other. And so that would be a fun little series to watch.
Now you know where Dante DiVincenzo is.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we kind of glossed over, the point which Tony made there is, these could be teams for the next 5 to 7 years. No, that's not the way the league works.
No,
anymore.
It's 7 different champs in 7 years. It's the first time that's ever happened. Ever. A reigning champion hasn't made it past the second round since 2019.
That's crazy.
But the sport has changed. The threes has changed everything, and it's either going to ruin the sport or bring it back because the games are going to be what matter. And Aaron Gordon's not wrong when he says, man, you saw how good that basketball was in the bubble, right? If we're rested, if it's not us, listen, pal. The human body's limits make it so the best athletes in the world can't play all of the minutes in a basketball game. They need rest. The jumping and running and hitting your hands on the rim and landing create joint stuff with the flights. They're giant bodies. The luxury hotels are sometimes great, and often they're too big to sleep comfortably because they're 7'7", and it's not a normal thing to be in the world. I understand we make fun of the load management, but Aaron Gordon is simply telling you, in the bubble, we hated it, couldn't go anywhere. But you saw how good the basketball was because the best athletes in the world weren't broken from trying to get to the next game the next night in the next city.
But I also saw something that wasn't the NBA. I saw guys playing in front of no fans. I don't care about the quality of basketball. Part of the NBA, part of climbing that mountain is going on the road and beating a team on the road in a big Game 7 in front of their fans.
Well, and more so, part of the NBA is look at the 4 teams remaining now. Minnesota, Indiana, New York, Oklahoma City. They're healthy. This is part of the NBA. There's a little bit of luck involved there. You avoid the injury. You're healthy. You move on.
Funny invoking the name of Aaron Gordon, who we got a report from Shams had a grade 2 hamstring strain, who was going to be out several weeks, if not more. And then you see him in the starting lineup the next day, and you're like, how is this happening? Grabbed 11 boards in the first 10 minutes of the game. So he's a guy that's showing you, we play too much. I say we play too much, but look at me go do it and actually talk the talk and walk the walk.
Yes, but at what cost? Because Durant hasn't been the same since tearing his Achilles, because there is a short-sightedness in having to get out there, because the stakes get ratcheted up to such a place that Julius Randle might not get this shot the rest of his life. There are no promises here. The league is changing all of the time. Julius Randle, if he wants to be all the things that he's dreamt about being, here's a chance. Here's the chance as the underdog. And you only have to ride number 2. You don't even have to be the best number 2 there's been, Giannis. You could just be number 2 to Anthony Edwards. And if you knock off that team, which I do not believe they can, I believe they will get smothered and they will shoot tons and tons of threes. You like their size, Tony?
I like their size, Dan. I like that Minnesota's been the biggest problem for OKC this season. And it's if you start looking at some of the matchups, there's something there.
Do we owe Rudy Gobert a little bit of an apology?
No.
Or rather, Minnesota an apology for criticizing that move the way that we did. Because, look, they gave up a ton of picks. It might ultimately end up leading to nothing, and having all of those picks maybe could have been useful in the long run with Anthony Edwards. But in the short term, they have an opportunity here. They're back in their second straight conference finals. They have an anchor of their defense that they're able to build the rest of this around. And he hasn't been played off the floor.
I'll say it. I'm sorry, Minnesota. I feel like I wasn't the loudest of the criticizers, but I'll say it.
You were part of it.
Not to Minnesota, to Rudy Gobert.
He's right, though.
Both.
It was more the team.
We ripped the team for doing it. We can still, Rudy Gobert.
This is an interesting one, though, because when, as Zaslow is saying, we always overlook this one. Health is so important. The Timberwolves are 30-6 in the last 36 games that Julius Randle has played. 30-6. And the Pacers they've lost 5 times in 2 months. That includes the playoffs. The Pacers. So
that's good, right?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Since January, they're 46-14. The Pacers are.
So the Knicks are favored in that series, and I understand that
they should be.
That New York is feeling itself, but because.
Well, they're the 3 seed. They have home court advantage. They should be a slight favorite, of course. They beat Boston.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because if we're doing the sliding scale of randomness in the 3-point age, and I'm throwing health into the mix because, of course, Minnesota advances because Steph got hurt. I don't know if Minnesota should have or would have advanced. Steph and Jimmy Butler were hurt. So, okay, yeah, they're healthier. But I'm saying when Julius Randle is healthy, Minnesota's 30-6, and the Pacers have lost 5 times in 2 months, and some of those games are against Cleveland in the postseason. They were going to Cleveland and winning at Cleveland. The Pacers, I understand that they only had 50 wins this season, but they all came when they were healthy toward the end. And so, whatever the Knicks are favored by, it shouldn't be very much, and a feel-good story will collapse in a heap if it becomes the Pacers. Like when Stugotz is saying, good luck with that, Pacers, on the refereeing in these games. Like, you thought Halliburton's dad was bad last round. Wait till the Garden gets a load of him, and his son's not getting any calls.
That's where the ratings thing is interesting, right? Because everybody in America pretty much is rooting for the Knicks outside of maybe Boston and down here. Everyone's rooting for the Knicks. The Pacers, if they're able to pull off an upset, become such an unbelievable villain going into the NBA Finals, particularly if you get the Oklahoma City matchup, where it's the young team that's supposed to get the title, that's supposed to be there, and it would be Indiana messing all of that up. This team with Tyrese Halliburton, that would be a really cool villain story for them.
Right, but a story that no one watches. I mean,
there's no other villain,
Just
right?
basketball nerds.
There's no other villain, right? No, I love the Halliburton story. Like, that's...
You're a bird.
Anthony Edwards could be a villain, maybe, especially if they play the Knicks. Like, he has that type of
Wait a
aura
minute.
going into the Garden.
Hold on, guys. 25 years of Knicks basketball has been dreadful, where it's only Larry Johnson a million years ago and Jeremy Lin and nothing else.
we had a month of Stoudemire.
Okay, there's nothing else for a quarter century. But what do I drop in the middle of that? And it didn't have these stakes that felt pretty damn good. Oh, there's Trae Young for a minute. Going into Madison Square Garden, not afraid. Halliburton going into New York, unafraid, with Reggie Miller calling the
Enough of
games.
him. I told you.
In how, like, I know New York is feeling itself.
Reggie Miller is not going into Madison Square Garden. Halliburton is. Reggie is not.
He is. He's going to be courtside.
He's watching the game like me and you. Okay?
But he's also calling the game.
Good for him.
No.
Do you think they'll show Reggie in the opening montage walking into the arena?
100%.
Stugotz, it's not going to be just like you and me. He's calling the game. In the big moments, his voice.
I call the game at home.
You should do a simulcast opposite Reggie Miller by yourself calling the game at home.
More work?
I've got the Heat working on something. Sources deep within the Heat organization have told me that they have found your audition tape for their post-game, pre-game show.
Oh, it's the worst thing ever. I mean, I don't care. You can play it. It's probably, and I've had many embarrassing moments in my life. This is probably the most embarrassed I've ever been. I mean, I got to tell you, studio host, hard job. Very hard job. Difficult.
But you just said you could do it as well as Reggie Miller.
Well, I could do play-by-play. I do it in my house.
That's
I do
color.
it-
That's
right.
color. That's
Yeah.
different.
I mean, you've heard me do play-by-play before, Dan. I mean, I told you, Glenn Geffner said if you spend a little time just working on the craft, you would be an all-time great. I mean,
Zaslow also auditioned for that, didn't you?
I auditioned for that role also, the studio host for pre-halftime post. Yep.
Right.
How'd you do? That's the job that went to Will Manso?
That's it. Oh, Will Manso.
Yeah.
His name should be Will Handsome.
Will Hanso?
Will Hanso is even better. That's a good television name.
I wanted that job.
Will Hanso.
Will Hanso. So were you any good, though?
I had no experience, so for someone with no experience, I thought I was pretty good, but
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
I was terrible. And I knew I was terrible. While I was in it, I was sweating. Oh.
Well, but I think you went in there with the same bravado you go into all situations.
No prep, yeah.
Where, well,
I love the
yes.
visual that they've created, though, of like an audition room where you walk in, it's like Zaslow's over there, Will Manso's over here.
It was, yeah.
Who else was in that room? Like, come on, throw other names
It
at
was
me.
me,
This is a fun game.
Zaslow. I think Sedano was in that room, wasn't
Sedano.
it? No.
No, Sedano. The gig opened up because Sedano left.
Oh, okay.
Too big time.
Yeah. He was good at it.
For sure, Whitty probably at that time tried out for it, too.
Let's
When he was
listen,
12.
just so that you know, I'm not a doctor, Zaslow is, but
I am a doctor.
I have diagnosed Stugotz with Dunning-Kruger, which is the sort of inane, inexplicable belief that you can do anything and be better at anything than you actually are capable of being.
Thank you.
And Greg Cody is also afflicted with this. But this is Stugotz, after saying on the air he could be a play-by-play man for Major League Baseball. This is Stugotz's first foray at a Marlins game.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you
by
got to
the way,
stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides into first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
Nailed it.
Slides into first.
Thank you. I got that wrong.
The rare hit down the right field line where you have to slide into first.
Right. Once I get into it, though, I'm pretty good. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear the potential.
I can hear the gin and tonic.
Again, this is radio, so there are no visuals. I want you to imagine that you are betting heavily on the Marlins in this game, and you're trying to figure out what just happened because this guy is making jokes still 10 seconds after the crack of the bat, which everyone knows is blasphemy to talk through.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
So
pretty good.
It's the third inning.
I set the scene.
Wait a minute. So
is he going back?
Logan Morrison was on first, and Martinez was sliding back into first, correct? That's what was happening?
Very rare play.
That's on Sampson for asking me a question right before I'm doing the.
But wait a minute. Was there anyone at third, or was it runners on first and third, or were there two runners on first?
I think there was a runner on first, and it ended up that it was first and third because Martinez slid into first.
Okay, one more time. Let me hear this.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning. So I think Martinez was on first. He slid into third, not first. Logan Morrison got the hit, and then it was first and third.
Yes, I think that's what happened too. But what you
But
described,
the picture you painted.
So we're clear. Just so we're clear.
It can't be whatever.
It's not whatever. Thank you. Zaslow,
paint your own picture.
Zaslow, it can't be whatever is exactly
It's
right.
like the last thing it is. Whatever.
It is for me.
Zaslow.
Call the game your way, and I'll call it mine.
And the way that he called it is I'm in my car, and I only have the audio experience. So at the end of that, I just want you to know, I've got Logan Morrison at first base standing there. I've got Martinez sliding back head first into first base, but also Martinez is at third as well. So so we're clear.
I don't think he ever slided anywhere into any base.
Slid. Jin Scully over here.
Osvaldo Martinez is who we're talking about.
Jin Scully.
That's a good nickname.
So jealous of your confidence. Just your confidence in that clip. It's just.
It had to be the gin, though, because you can hear the first 10 seconds of him trying to rattle around them. Like, I got gin in me.
It's Sampson asking me a question. But once I got into the mechanics of calling a baseball game, pretty good.
It's the third inning.
Tony, it was the third inning of a day game, and it wasn't gin. It was just Stugotz. It was thought. It's how thought came out because he had his joke set up, and there's the crack of the bat, and I'm not going to ad-lib. Let me get my joke off. Now Martinez is at both third and first and sliding into one of them.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning. Do we have another clip?
I want to talk about something else in basketball today, Stugotz, as we talk about stories and narratives and how things become popular and how you sit and watch history as it unfolds. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have started something that I haven't quite seen since Magic and Bird, and Magic and Bird didn't seem to hate each other.
Respected each other, yes.
But they what is interesting about what's happening there, you guys give me the other two athletes that have come in at the same time and are sort of elbowing each other for space at the start of something personality-wise, and you can know they don't like each other, and on top of that, are doing the race dynamics of the day different than Magic and Bird did them. Because Magic and Bird, everybody was very lucky that Magic was as graceful as he was during the entirety of that time as the league exploded, because Magic's smile and all the things Larry Bird was and is why Indiana cares about basketball the way that it does. And it's happening again, except Angel Reese doesn't do it the way Magic Johnson's going to do it, and now there's a sharpened edge on all of it that's even more interesting, I think, than Magic and Bird palling around in the sneaker commercials. Now it's like, oh, everyone here is cutthroat and they really don't like each other. And and Angel Reese is carrying with her some of the, hey, white basketball player, black basketball players built this, and now you're profiting off it, which is the same thing that was happening with Magic and Bird.
Yes.
Like the basketball became an American story. Basketball became America's sport, at least in part because of how all of it was intertwined. Race and history and sports and hip hop and style and culture, all of it. Because culturally, white people don't tend to dominate the sport loved by black people the way that Americans dominate the sport that's loved by Canadians. Or Florida dominates the sport that's loved by Canadians. But you have something happening right now in the WNBA that is exactly the kind of sparks you need.
It's fever, actually, not the sparks.
Right. It's a fine.
Oh, wow.
WNBA joke.
Yeah. It was a good one. It was a good one.
Do you guys have any other commentary on this?
I feel like, could it also just be two competitive basketball players had a competitive moment on the court? Like, and we're just like,
well, they always have those
and
moments.
we're taking it and we're running with
a
it.
history, right? Like, they've played against each other in huge moments over and over and over again. They're being pushed as this thing together as rookies. I don't know that this is like a race war. I just think these are two competitors. You know what I mean?
One of the important things with Magic and with Bird is Bird went to the Celtics. Magic went to the Lakers. They were marquee franchises. I'm not even certain the Sky are any good.
Jeremy, here's the thing, though. Fair enough, all of it. But you don't get to decide what the race war is.
Well, don't they?
Well, no. Everything that happens around them is what decides.
Okay, so you do.
No, not me either. Not me. Everything that happens.
I think you think it's you. I mean.
I think it's me?
Yes.
I think I get to decide whether it's a race war.
For about 20 years or so.
If anyone can declare a race war around here, I trust you.
Yeah, it's you. You've been doing it for like 20 years. Yeah, that's your whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're agreeing with you. It shouldn't be Jeremy. I mean, you are the most qualified.
I don't think so.
I'm a race war expert.